Hi guys, welcome to another MSI Insider livestream. I'm here today with Eric on my side.
Hello.
Not physically next to me, but it looks like he is. Today we're going to have a very cool livestream together with Seagate. Later on in the livestream we will also have a guest from Seagate throughout pretty much the whole livestream. And we'll talk about many different things with regards to gaming and gaming storage. We will also have a nice giveaway. Thanks to Seagate, we're able to give away a very nice Gen 4 SSD, the Seagate FireCuda 520, a 1 terabyte model. It's a really nice prize today. So we'll also have some additional winners today with our regular $20 Team Wallet code giveaway. So make sure to go to msi.com/2/insider. There you can find a link to the giveaway in Gleam. On YouTube and Twitch, you should be able to get a message once in a while with a direct link to our Gleam giveaway. Within Gleam, you can perform certain actions. The more actions you perform, the more entries you will get for the giveaway. So the bigger chance you will have to win. And today we have some additional actions. For example, following the Seagate, going to the Seagate website, following them on their social media, etc. So that way you can increase your chances to win, for example, that 1 terabyte Gen 4 SSD.
I'm a bit afraid because they can win a Gen 4 SSD. What if they don't have a Gen 4 motherboard?
They can upgrade.
They will ask for us next week, right?
It's Gen 4 motherboard is quite accessible nowadays with B550 and stuff.
That's true.
Should be good. So I think it's a really nice prize. I hope you will like it as well. And
I see a lot of people in the chat already talking about it.
Yeah, just to make it sure, the first giveaways will be for the $20 Team Wallet code giveaway, and at the very end of the stream we will announce the winner of the 1 terabyte FireCuda 520 Gen 4 SSD.
Indeed. Yeah, and we have a lot of great content today, so a lot of storage devices. We have Gen 3, Gen 4, we even found a hard disk.
Internal, external, we will talk about
USB.
Yeah, SATA SSD, SATA hard drive, but also the M.2 SSDs. We have some very cool next generation external storage devices, including, for example, this FireCuda gaming dock. Yeah. We also have the FireCuda gaming SSD here today.
You know what's cool about the gaming dock?
I think everything's pretty cool about the gaming dock.
But it has RGB.
Yeah, so that's one thing.
Yeah, and you know RGB makes things faster, right?
Yeah, so you get more FPS with an RGB gaming dock. That's how it works.
Let's check that out later.
I see a question in chat. Z490 is Gen 4. Z490, the motherboards are prepared to do Gen 4, but with the current generation processors, Gen 4 is not possible yet. So if you have a 10th gen Intel Core processor, you're unfortunately still limited to PCI Express Gen 3.
I see a question about Dragon Center keeps crashing. We had, when was it, Mike? When we had a con call? Tuesday, I guess. Tuesday we had a con call about Dragon Center, and our software team knows about some issues and they're working hard on it.
Yeah. So we'll put additional focus on that as well to really try to solve.
But I mean, we're not going to promise it's fixed tomorrow, but yeah, it's on our radar and we're working on it. Yeah.
Marek's asking, serious a physical item giveaway? Yes.
Yes.
Any more questions in chat?
Well, they just throw them in chat. Let's maybe introduce Phil.
Yeah.
Okay. So Phil will join us from Skype.
Let me get my earphones in so I can hear Phil as well.
Yes,
hello,
I can hear you guys.
Welcome to the stream.
Am I loud and clear?
Phil works at Seagate. Phil, maybe you can explain a little bit about what your exact function is within Seagate, how long you're within Seagate, etc. Just a brief introduction of yourself.
Yeah, so I've been at Seagate, if we close the year, 4 years. I predominantly manage the UK channel with a specific focus to the e-tails and the system integrators, which is where my passion is. Mm-hmm. And since probably about 4 months ago, I took on a new role in Seagate to provide more direction for Europe on how to put forward our SSD strategy, so leading a sort of wider sales team. Appreciate we're still in infancy, but we're doing a great job and we've got a strong portfolio to sort of demonstrate today.
Cool. So today we're going to talk about many of your products, both internally and externally. Where is your expertise in that spectrum?
Yeah, so my sort of my background is predominantly internal drives, so I'll try and answer the questions the best I can on the external. So be kind, and I'll do my best.
Okay, perfect.
Don't worry.
I see already some question in chat. Are you going to do Crystal disk mark benchmarks for read-write speed? Yes, definitely. We have many different devices, and we will test all of them also with Crystal disk mark.
Yeah, so let's maybe start with some slides. Because a lot of people don't expect this, but gaming, storage, and gaming, there's a very important relation, because games nowadays are, let me find this. Michiel, can you maybe go to the first slide?
I have that one, so I hope our capture is working.
Okay, then I need to fix that for a moment. Always. Or maybe Michiel, you need to do it.
Let me see.
Yeah.
It works?
Like this. Okay. Oh, okay. So maybe let's talk. We will do that in the end. So let's talk a little bit about games, because games are getting huge. And I think everybody knows, Michiel and me, we like Call of Duty. What do you like most, Michiel, with the blue car?
Rocket League.
Yeah, I mean, I'm all over Warzone.
Yeah, you also play Warzone, right?
Yeah, I'm always a sucker for Fall Guys as well.
I like that as well, yeah.
In terms of storage, Fall Guys is still quite okay, right? It's not too big.
Yeah.
So if we're going to look here at Red Dead Redemption 2, I think it's a 1-year-old title, 150 gig already. Microsoft Flight Simulator, just released, also 150 gig. And yeah, the big and famous game, Call of Duty, Modern Warfare. It's huge. I checked it yesterday on my computer, my desktop. It was 177 gigabyte, and I even saw a news article. They said Call of Duty is so big it doesn't fit on a 250 gigabyte hard drive, and that's probably hard drive SSD. That's probably including Windows. But yeah, it's huge.
And it's also getting bigger and bigger. Of course, within Modern Warfare, you have the additional Battle Royale, Warzone. And it's, if everything added up, it takes a lot of storage.
No Apex Legends on the chart. No, sorry.
No, this is just an overview with all the different Call of Duties. You can see that the very first Call of Duty, 1.4 gigabyte. Even games like Fall Guys are already much larger than 1.4 gigabytes. So especially with the high resolution textures nowadays, it's just getting bigger and bigger. And
and I already see somebody in the chat, Arrow's Mind is saying loading times are always better with Gen 3 and Gen 4. So and I think that is the best upgrade you can do if you have a little bit older system. It's your SSD.
Yeah, especially if you're still on a hard drive.
If you're still on a hard drive.
If you have Windows and your programs running on a hard drive, it's like if you upgrade to an SSD, even if it's just an entry-level SATA SSD, it will already be a huge difference in how fast your computer feels.
Indeed, and storage used to be, it depends, but it used to be expensive, especially SSDs, M.2 SSDs. But nowadays, especially this period in the year, it's dirt cheap.
I've seen it's been a couple of years ago when SSDs were still pretty new, and they had I saw a video of a test, and they had a more entry-level system. So I think it was a Core i3 based with an SSD, and then they had a very high-end system, Core i7 based back then, with a hard disk drive. And then they had people who didn't know which system was which one, and they had it tested and what feels faster. And the Core i3 with an SSD felt faster in general use for people than the i7 with a hard disk drive. So it's definitely a huge step up, especially in loading times, like your operating system, stuff like that.
Interesting question in the chat. Phil, when is Seagate going to bring out their own memory?
We won't.
But because it's the same, right? An SSD and in memory, it's also.
Yeah, we just won't. I mean, Seagate built up their heritage over 40 years based on storage, and we're not gonna stop doing that. So everything we do is going to be storage heavy. I think we're going to stick to what we know, and that's how it's going to be. Okay. There's no plans for us to change to do RAM in the future. unfortunately.
And there is, of course, some overlap with flash memory, of course, that you can find both in storage but also in RAM. But essentially, there's still very different markets
Absolutely.
with a completely different purpose.
Yeah.
So I understand, especially Seagate has always been a storage company. So.
Yeah. One interesting development as well, what we see in the market, I believe everybody noticed the new RTX 30 series from NVIDIA. They announced something, what is called the RTX I/O, and with that basically you can use your GPU to decompress the files on your storage. So basically loading times will go up by a big factor, and also it will completely change the games. And this technology actually is from the Xbox X, which Microsoft will introduce soon, right? In a month time or something?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think I'm not sure, the 11th of November or something. Anyway, so this technology is from the consoles. They will bring this also, Microsoft will also bring this to Windows, and NVIDIA already announced RTX, and maybe AMD will announce something similar. We don't know. AMD, I already saw people talking about it. They will have their announcement tomorrow afternoon, or tomorrow evening, depending on where you are.
And
so
this should make a huge difference in the importance of storage on your gaming computer.
Absolutely, yeah, because
in the
for
future,
that you need NVMe Gen 4.
Yeah, and also in the future, those games will be designed to use the speed that your storage can provide. Currently, that's not always the case. Yeah. So it depends very much per game. If you have a very large game with a huge map, then you will, for example, see differences in loading times. But in the future, with things like RTX I/O, you can expect way more benefits of faster storage in your computer.
Yeah, Phil, do you see this as well in your business? If, for example, new game launches, that you see a lot of more demand for storage or bigger storage or faster storage?
Yeah, well, so if I talk to the sort of size comment is so on the external hard drive side of the business, we license Xbox and PlayStation drives, so we're getting fed information from Microsoft and Sony about how their game sizes are changing and what capacities are the sweet spots, and then we do limited editions based on that information. So we can see how the trend and culture is changing on the console side of the fence. And then as for PC gaming, it's completely different, because even though, let's say, this channel is all about optimizing gaming, storage, but actually I think the gamer is also going through an evolution themselves, where more and more gamers are not just gaming anymore. They're doing more. They're creating content.
Yeah, absolutely.
So how they're using their storage is evolving, where they used to just have a hard drive. They'd moved to SSD hard drives. Some are just moving complete to SSD. But now what they're realizing is, I need a NAS. So it's just an evolution. And that's obviously, we're going to talk through those paths and different use cases of how people are evolving, not just being a gamer being pigeonholed.
Yeah, and I think that also has to do with programs like each mobile phone has of each smartphone has a camera nowadays, pretty good camera. Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, everybody is Twitch. Everybody is a content creator nowadays.
And it's also, you can see it in different aspects in the market. For example, the core count on CPUs. People are not only gaming anymore; they're also encoding their gameplay to stream it to, for example, Twitch or platforms like that. So the demand of gamers is also changing a little bit, and that's also what you can see in the storage. They're for example, making YouTube videos, sometimes even in 4K, and then all of a sudden the speed of your storage becomes quite a big topic. If you're going to work with these large video files. Later on the stream, we will also demonstrate a little bit. We got some of our footage, and it's 4K video. These are files that are easily 10, 15, 20 gigabytes. And transferring these files in between different drives, but also to external drives, makes quite a big difference. So later on the stream, we'll also demonstrate you what kind of difference you can expect when you're, for example, copying a file like that to a traditional hard drive or to a Gen4 M.2 SSD, because it's a huge gap.
Yeah, so some questions from the chat. Will MSI bring storage cloud? No, MSI is not into the storage business, so also not in the cloud storage business. Is that something what you are considering, Phil? What Seagate is considering? Cloud storage, or you already have this?
Yeah. I mean, so I'm going to bore you for just a second. Seagate sees themselves in 3 pigeonholes. We call it IT 2.0, which is what the space that all the gamers sit. That's just everyday devices that we use. And then you've got a new type of industry that's going to come through the ground called edge computing, which is regional data centers. And then IT 4.0 is hyperconverged cloud, boring. But that's where all the high processing power is going to be. But the regional data center is going to have to sit in between our devices and cloud to actually keep up with the bandwidth and the new data transactions that the world's going to see. So we are creating full server solutions and even problem-solving solutions before they even happen.
Yeah, so it's not that you offer cloud storage to the consumers, but you offer your storage solutions to the cloud services.
Yeah, as if you know we're going to be a server provider, you know, in the future, but not actually. We are actually doing fully fledged software, and it's all coming, and we're sort of growing into that market. And of course, the biggest cost structure is actually storage.
Yeah.
So that's the path we're going to. But you know, let's see in the next 10, 15 years.
Still a long time to go.
It's a long cycle.
Yeah.
I see some comments in Twitch chat about people's Modern Warfare installation that's already even bigger, over 220 gigabytes. I think the graph we have right here was, I believe it was at launch of the game. But with new updates, more content is being added, so these games are also getting larger over time. So I totally believe that Modern Warfare...
Yeah, but this is a strange thing. Because yesterday I saw the press release or some news, some website wrote this, like Modern Warfare doesn't fit on a 250 gigabyte hard disk. And then we were preparing this live stream, so I was like, okay, let's check my directory. And mine was only 177, and I'm up to date.
So do you have all content installed?
Yeah. So
because I saw some people who were talking about 224, I believe.
Yeah, indeed. So it probably differs per person, or maybe per region.
Yeah. I've just seen a question pop up, if it's right to answer to it. Someone's asked, M.2 SSD, some come with heat sinks, some come without. Is it needed? Is it necessary? Very hard to sort of comment on the whole market there. It all comes down to the quality of NAND they're using, the type of market they're going for, and where that drive is going to be placed. So as an example, if I was to talk about Seagate's product, the FireCuda 520, you'll see that other brands will have heat sinks on the not. We're all using the same controller on the first wave of Gen 4 that hit the market, which was a Phison E16 controller.
You have one there, maybe you can show it?
Right,
because then we know what we're talking about.
So we spoke with manufacturers such as MSI in the production of this, and naturally it was X570 at that stage, and most X570 motherboards came with some form of heat spreader where you would have to remove the heatsink anyway. Now, anyone who's buying a high-end motherboard with everything else high-end going inside it, they're not going to be cheaping out on that type of build. The cooling inside should be at a high level to allow to move the heat out at the same time. So we found it completely irrelevant to have the heatsink from our perspective.
Here, for example, I also have the heatsink right here. That's from the motherboard that we're using today. So this will already go over the SSD. And you see that it has thermal pads on the other side. So yes, indeed, it's very common nowadays to have those coolers on your motherboard already.
Well, it depends. I mean, on the higher motherboards you have them, but on entry
level
you
mainstream.
Probably only find one, or maybe none.
Yeah, it depends very much. For example, on if you have a B550 motherboard, Gen 4 will only be present on the primary M.2 slot. Today we're using a TRX 40 motherboard. That one has Gen 4 on all 3 SSD slots, and even 4 additional if you use the bundled add-in card. But all of them come with cooling, because especially those high performance SSDs, they tend to get a little bit warmer, but as Phil already mentioned, it very much depends on also your use case. Are you only loading a game of it? Are you transferring huge files? It very much depends on what you do with it, how hot it will get.
Yeah, well, you know, it's about indeed cooling it down, but the result of that is that your boost speed So it doesn't start throttling. So your maximum speed of the SSD is long-tailed longer, which means your transfer is faster finished.
Yeah.
So it's not like, oh, it gets too hot, it's like 60 degrees or 70, you know, that's not the issue. It's just, you know, well, you know, it's not about the temperature in your case, it's more about the boost speeds.
Yeah, to make sure that it won't throttle.
Yeah, prevent throttling, that's the point, yeah. So maybe, Michiel, let's go to the next slide, because this also, let me see where I have it. It's a bit slow.
I don't think the capture is not. Oh,
yeah, it's really a bit slow sometimes. So this is also quite confusing.
Like very often, people are asking. For example, I bought a 500 gig SSD. Why am I only seeing 465 gigabytes in Windows?
Yeah.
That's because there are like two ways of measuring the size of a file or a storage device. So you have decimal, so that's about like in the metric system, so you get it in thousands basically. It's very easy to calculate with, but computers don't work that way. They use with binary numbers, and in that situation it's 1024. So that's because it's basically two different ways of calculating gigabytes, or the official naming is also quite a bit different than how it's often used. But that's where you can see a mismatch in what you see, for example, on the box of your SSD and what you see in Windows, because there's two different ways of calculating.
Your 500 gig SSD is only 500 gig until you put it in your computer.
Yeah, in Windows it won't show up as a 500 gigabyte SSD. I, for example, have one in the system. Maybe you can open up the capture. I have a lot of storage devices in this system, so you will already see a little bit of what we're going to
demo.
Yeah. So here, for example, I have the FireCuda 500 gigabyte. That's currently my boot drive, so I have Windows and stuff installed on here. And as you can see, it's 465 gigabytes in Windows, and that's because that's the binary way of calculating storage. Whereas on the box, you will see the metric way of calculating storage. So yeah, that's why you sometimes have that question. Why is it not the size that is advertised on the box?
Phil, do you guys get a lot of questions about this? Or is this now accepted in the market? Because I know
yeah. I mean, it's just a reoccurring question that keeps
it's
coming
quite confusing,
back.
especially because JDEC, you know, they took the as official naming. It's, you know, it's the same for the metric system and for the sorry for the metric, for the decimal system and for the binary system.
Yeah, I agree.
So everybody disappointed when they have less storage than what they bought.
Yeah, I mean, this topic comes up mainly with our conversations around NAS, believe it or not, because the storage that goes into redundancy just because of the software that's entailing in there. So they buy, I don't know, four terabyte hard drives. So they got 16, but they're not actually seeing 16. Yeah. So that's where we see the biggest pain point. You know, it might be a new NAS user that has never had NAS before, and they're going, "Well, I feel like I've been cheaped out." But it's everything that's going in there in terms of protection, redundancy, the software. It's everything that helps that NAS do its job efficiently, and that's why NAS exists, right?
Okay, a question from Ali on YouTube. Do you have any direct storage technology that consoles use?
Sorry, can you ask that question again? I missed
that. Yeah, the question is, does this have any direct storage technology that consoles use? So probably he's referring to consoles. You can expand them with external storage or some with internal storage. Do you have any solutions for that? So like an external USB drive, and I know the new PS5 and right. Xbox X will also have some new format for that. Maybe, I'm not sure if you can talk already about that.
Yeah, I can. Yeah, because so I'll start with console. So Xbox X, Seagate has the sole rights of their expansion card, which it doesn't follow the traditional fashion of the 2.5-inch SATA or the NVMe drive. It's actually a complete new architecture, which we've had to marry up with what their device is. And there's quite a lot of confusion online about, you know, console users are used to buying hard drive where it's, you know, good bang for buck. but now the consoles are moving into more PC gaming specs, especially where the storage is concerned. And people are questioning, you know, does the price point warrant where it is? I would say yes. If you were to compare the same drive in the PC environment, it does warrant it. But obviously, it's something a hard pill to swallow from a console user who could get 5 terabytes for less than the cost of the 1 terabyte expansion. And the frustration that people are going to see, you know, I've got a console as well, right? And I've got my external hard drive. Now, if you had all your games on your external hard drive, you can play your games from your hard drive. On the new consoles, it has to be on the SSD. You can only play games of older generation on the new Xbox. Yeah. So actually, people who have a 5 terabyte, as an example, if they want to play the game from the drive, they can't. They have to move the data from that drive onto the SSD. So people are going to have to get a bit more savvy with moving around. And obviously, if you're transferring from a hard drive to SSD, you just got to sort of accept the time it's going to take you to do that. So we've got 1 terabyte available now. And I don't know about the future roadmap. But yeah, it is a hard pill for people to swallow. As for if I talk to the PS5, they haven't actually announced it is going to be an M.2 lane for expansion, but they haven't fully released what is required to be compatible with their console yet. But because Seagate are quite tight with Sony, given the external storage and the licensing that we do, we'll be sort of one of the first in line to sort of create a product that's going to be compatible and with those. But again, we still haven't got it. But yeah, it's going to be a Gen 4 drive. The stats on the actual consoles itself is on the PS5, it's 5.5 gig. So it's going to be quick internal storage. And the Xbox is 2.4 gig. So a lot less. But in terms of game loads, it'll be interesting, you know, when all the comparisons come out and all the reviews start happening, when people have actually got their storage embedded. What's the trade-off? You know, it's like an ongoing conversation, you know, where it'd be, you know, Apple versus iPhone and people saying this is better, that's better. And it would be interesting how this rivalry continues.
Okay, I already see somebody on in the chat saying, I have an empty PCI Express Gen 4 slot waiting for the new SSD. So let's do one of our lucky draws. Michiel?
Yeah, but this is still the $20 Steam Wallet.
Yeah, so please mention this clearly.
Just to make that sure. So our first winner of today's Steam Wallet Code giveaway is, let me see, Wrigley1. Congratulations, you won our first $20 Steam Wallet Code.
I'm hiding Phil, so then he can go to the toilet if he needs to. Each half hour.
So if you haven't participated yet, go to msi.com/2/insider on Twitch and YouTube. Our bot will also put a direct link in chat once in a while.
Yeah, but the chat bot will only do this on Twitch, and on YouTube.
Exactly.
So not on other channels. But all other people can go to msi.com/2/insider.
Yeah, we will have a few more Steam Wallet Code giveaways, and at the very end we will have our big winner for today, who will win the Seagate FireCuda 520 1 terabyte Gen 4 SSD.
Really nice price.
Yeah. Can you go back to the chat maybe? I saw an interesting question. Can you scroll up a little bit?
One moment, let me check. Oh, he's still there.
I did see a question that I wanted to answer to. Someone asked what's more reliable, SATA SSD or NVMe SSD. It's really difficult to answer that question. But what I would base that reliability on is everyone looks at read and write predominantly. But what there seems to be, you know, from a marketing standpoint, and it seems to be missed quite a lot, is SSD brands aren't talking about the reliability too much, which we call TBW, terabytes written. So it all comes down to that rating. You know, it's in enterprise land, it's called data writes per day. So if you're got a 1 rating for data writes per day, that means the full capacity of that drive can be written to once a day and you can keep doing that for the life cycle of the warranty. So that's serious stuff. So actually, if you look at the TBW rating, that should show you the reliability. So depending on the product you're choosing, depends on the reliability. So you can't say one or the other. It's a choice to your budget and a choice to the interface that you're wanting to plug in.
Yeah, Eric, can you scroll up in the chat a little bit? I saw an interesting question from Edwin K. Also in relation to this topic, let me see.
There.
Yeah, he was asking how many layers does SSD memory chips have? Like, for example, we're talking about SLC, MLC, TLC, QLC.
Difficult question.
It's a difficult question, but also has to do, for example, with reliability and with the terabytes written that you were talking about. Can you maybe explain a little bit about that, about the difference and how it is important to an SSD and what, for example, the SSDs that we're using today use in that perspective?
You're trying to catch me out now. No, I mean, obviously, depending on, we all know at the bottom end of the market, it's called QLC. So obviously, the more layers, the longer it takes for it to do its processes.
So quad level cell, that's basically, you have 4 of those levels per memory cell.
Yeah, correct. So in essence, that would slow down the performance and the longevity of it, because it's using more cells on a frequent basis, and they don't have as much garbage collection as well in the drives. But then obviously, I think the most common is TLC for most. But really,
that's what we see a lot nowadays, right? Because, for example, I believe the both FireCuda models, the PCI Express ones and the M.2 ones, I think both of these are also TLC-based products, right?
Yes, that's right. Yeah, and I suppose when we go to the manufacturing process, we always one thing I wanted to make clear to everyone as well is when we put out a data sheet, and if you were to do your testing now, and if you were to do the testing again in a year's time, the data sheet will still ring true. So when we put forward our specification, if the NAND chips that are coming through for production, we just won't accept them because we've got too much. Well, we're a storage brand. That's what we do. So we've got too much reputation at stake. So we always make sure that we make sure that the NAND chips that we are buying are to the quality standard of the data sheet that we put out there. So no matter when you test that drive, there's no golden samples. That is the build spec. There's about a 5% flex.
Okay.
Which is a lot lower than many.
I see another interesting question on Twitch. Are warranties transferable? So let's say I buy an SSD and I sell it second-handed to somebody else. Will he have the same warranty as what I had? And how does this work? Because normally I would say I go to the store where I bought it.
Yeah. Yeah, let's say it's an online purchase. I suppose the warranty is based on proof of receipt, right? So when you go and do your warranty replacement, as long as you've got that original receipt, it's similar to like selling a car, right? You need to have that logbook. So
basically always ask, if you buy something second-handed, always ask for the receipt as well. But the original receipt.
Yeah.
I think that's also something that might depend on region as well, because I think you got certain rules in certain countries. Has
to do with local law.
Yeah, so it's quite difficult to get an answer that will apply worldwide. So, so I think that's also something you might need to check in your own country to see what is the case there and if warranty for products is transferable if you buy it secondhand, for example.
Let's maybe, Michiel, go through a few slides because I already see AK Extreme is asking what's the basic difference between BarraCuda and FireCuda, and we're going to benchmark them. So
let's maybe first go a little bit, introduce our testing system for today before we dive too much into this. I don't know what's wrong with our capture, but
yeah, sometimes it's slow.
There we go. So today we got a very nice test setup. Let me move this box a little bit so I can show it to you as well.
Ooh, 3080 or 3090.
Yeah. No, this is a 3080, the Ventus model. It's currently powered on, but because of zero frost, the fans are not spinning, but the system is running. And this is based, this platform is based on our Creator TRX 40 motherboard.
Can maybe show in the detailed cam?
Yeah, let me show you the full system right here. There we go.
1, 2, 3 storage
you
devices.
can see, you can already see indeed 3 M.2 SSDs installed on there.
And you have some more, 2 others, right? 2 hard drives.
Yeah, I have some more,
Or
definitely. Here we have a regular SSD. This is green, by the way, but because of our green screen, this is keyed out. And we have a hard drive as well, so the Iron Wolf Pro. We have the Seagate FireCuda. And all these drives are connected to our Creator TRX40 motherboard. So this is the high-end desktop platform that AMD currently offers. We have a 3970X processor on there right now. So that's the 32
There's one reason we choose this platform, right?
Yes, because we can show a lot of different kinds of storage on this. So for example, for the internal storage, we are benchmarking the Gen3 SSD on here, the M.2 Gen4 SSD, because this platform also provides PCI Express Gen4 that you cannot find on any platform yet right now. We have SATA devices, but we also have the new USB standard. So that's USB 3.2 Gen 2 x 2, or the other name, Super Speed USB 20G.
And
so
maybe you can show the I/O panel.
20 gigabit per second. Yeah. So here you can see the I/O of this specific motherboard, and there you can see that you have 3 different USB speeds on there. So it's also very important to when you want to connect a faster drive. So for example, a 20G drive. Then you want to make sure that it's connected to the right port. In this situation, that's a Type-C port. That's the USB 20G.
Sorry, Phil. I forgot to add him in.
Sorry?
I forgot to add him in the slides.
Okay, he's back.
In this scene.
Here you can see that you also have 3 USB, Super Speed USB 10 gigabit per second, and the green ones are the 5 gigabit per second. So make sure to connect the drive to the right USB port to get the maximum performance from that drive.
Yeah, so today we have an external USB 20 gig device.
Let me just grab it right here.
It's small but fast.
I will quickly disconnect it.
Detailed cam.
There we go.
Yeah.
And I also have the box right here. Just a second. So this is the FireCuda gaming SSD. In this situation, it's the 500 gigabyte model. And this is one of those very new, very fast USB drives. So this is a USB 20 gigabit per second drive.
Yeah.
So if you want to have that very fast external storage, you need to make sure that also your motherboard can support this. Because you can, of course, connect it to an older USB port, basically, so a 10 gigabit per second or 5 gigabit per second port. But of course, then it is backwards compatible, so it will work, but it will not reach its maximum speed.
So this is what we hear a lot from people, what we see in our help desk or on forums. People, you know, they buy a fast SSD, or let's say a fast external USB drive. It's slow, my benchmark is behind. Please connect it to the right port.
Yeah.
That will make a world of difference.
And you can easily see it, for example, on the I/O here. You see for the ones that are marked in orange here, that's the Super Speed USB 10 gigabits per second. You see the 10 written on there. For the
Michiel, I disagree. If you say you can easily see it, then you didn't have to mark it with green, red, and yellow.
Yeah. It depends a bit on the model. Now we're making more difference with colors to make it clearer.
Yeah. This is already 1.5 year old in this model.
No, a little bit shorter, I think. But for example, on our most recent series, like B550 or Z490 motherboards like that,
we improved this.
Yeah. So you see more different colors, so you can more easily distinguish the different USB ports. But here you can already see the difference with what's written on the I/O panel. Yeah. So make sure to properly see which one is which USB port.
So we also have M.2 devices.
Yep.
And that's also why we choose this model, because this model, you already saw it when Michiel showed it in the detailed cam. We have 3 M.2 slots.
On the motherboard
all of them,
itself, yeah.
X4 Gen 4, X4 Gen 4?
Yeah, so 4 lanes Gen 4.
Yeah, indeed.
Of course, backwards compatible with PCI Express Gen 3 as well. So if you want to have a more affordable SSDs, because Gen 3 SSDs are still a bit less expensive than Gen 4. You can of course also run it on a Gen 4 supported motherboard. You can of course also do Gen 3. The other way around works as well. So if your motherboard can only do Gen 3 and you have Gen 4 SSD, it will work, but it will be backwards compatible. So it will run on Gen 3. So in that situation, you will not get the maximum performance out of your SSD. But for example, if you already have a Gen 3 motherboard today, you need to buy a new SSD, and you want to do, for example, future proofing, you want to take the SSD with you to your next gaming rig, then it can already make sense to, for example, go for a Gen 4 SSD. It all depends on what you want and what you're going to use it for, basically.
Yeah, I see Mary B on YouTube has a very good remark. Color coding is good, it's always helpful. I have a funny story about that, because in the past we did this color coding, so we had like purple SATA slots with a purple cable, so in the manual it was like connect the purple cable to the purple slot. But then, you know, somebody in purchase, they had probably a better deal on cables and they got black ones. And then we had a purple SATA slot with a black cable. And the manual still said it like connect the purple cable with the purple cable with the purple slot. So, you know, everything needs to be in line if you do color coding, and it's quite difficult, you know, to maintain this in the years following. But nowadays it's quite easy like on our motherboards.
Yeah. So for the M.2 slots on this motherboard, it has 3 in total. It depends a bit on the size of your SSD, which one you need to use. So we've got 122, 110. So that's for the very long drives. Usually the 2280 drives are the common SSD size. That's also the one that I have right here, for example. This is the one that you will see most in the market. But of course, this will fit in any of the slots on the motherboard. So 3 in total. But
so this is also what people can win, right?
Well, the one I have right here is a 500 gigabyte model. The one that people can win is even a 1 terabyte model.
Oh, nice.
But it is the same type of SSD, so the FireCuda 520 Gen 4 SSD.
Yeah.
And if 3 SSDs is still not enough for you, 3 M.2 SSDs, then this motherboard also comes with this add-in card. So this is the M.2 Expander.
A lot of people
Aero
thought
card.
this was a VGA card, right?
Yeah, it looks a bit like our Aero ITX VGA cards, because they're similar size, also got one big fan. But this is the M.2 Expander Aero Gen 4 add-in card. And as you can see, let me see right here, you got the 4 additional M.2 slots. So this also supports PCI Express Gen 4. So in total, on this TRX 40 platform, on the Creator TRX 40 motherboard, you can install up to 7 Gen 4 M.2 SSDs.
I think we already did one live stream with 7 of them. 7
I think I had
Seagate
6 of them, and I
520s.
put them in RAID to see what kind of speeds we could achieve. So if you're interested in that, make sure to check it out.
Was it the TRX 40 live stream or one later?
No, it's I believe the live stream is called Extreme Possibilities of Creator TRX 40.
Yes.
If you look on that on YouTube, I'm sure you will find it. And there we actually benchmarked 6 of these Gen 4 SSDs. They were the FireCuda 520 ones. And we put them in RAID 0, so we got crazy performance on this platform. So it's extremely fast.
Indeed.
Will you need that kind of speed? That's a different story. Also depends on what you do. But you really can get insane storage speeds with this. Yeah. Let's take a quick look at what different motherboards can do and what kind of standards they support. So this is an overview of some of our gaming motherboards. So on the one hand, we have the mainstream platform from AMD, so our AM4 motherboards. On the other hand, we have the Intel ones, the LGA 1200 ones, so 400 series chipsets like H410, B460, C490. You can see some differences. The LGA 1200 ones, for example, Z490, our motherboards can support PCI Express Gen 4, but unfortunately the 10th gen Intel Core processors cannot. So currently for an M.2 SSD, there you're still limited to PCI Express Gen 3. With the AM4 AMD motherboards, you can also do Gen 4. On B550, you can do that on your primary graphics card and on your primary M.2 slot. On X570, you can, for example, do that on more graphics cards and SSDs as well. Of course, you have your nice old-fashioned SATA 6 gigabit per second interface. We will also demonstrate that today. We have a nice FireCuda 120 SSD here. So you can, for example, see the speed differences between a SATA hard drive, SATA SSD, but also later on the M.2 SSD. And then for external interfaces on our AM4 platform, we have the USB 5 gigabit per second and 10 gigabit per second, so USB 3.2 Gen 1 and Gen 2. And on our Intel platform, the LGA 1200 ones, it depends on the model, of course, but there we also have the 20 gigabit per second one that we also have on this TRX 40 motherboard. But also on some models we have, for example, Thunderbolt 3. And
I already see people in the chat, Thunderbolt!
Yeah.
Maybe
Thunderbolt
you can show
really
the
quick.
Thunderbolt device?
Sorry?
The Thunderbolt device we're later going to...
Yeah, later on we will show you this FireCuda gaming dock. This is also connected by Thunderbolt. And Thunderbolt even goes up to 40 gigabits per second. So that's even double the speed of USB 3.2 Gen 2 times 2. So it's extremely quick. And this you can, for example, find on our MEG Z490 Godlike, but also our MEG Z490i Unify, our mini ITX motherboard also supports this. And later on we'll also demonstrate this with our new Aegis Ti5 desktop that also supports this Thunderbolt 3 interface. Then we also have a quick overview of our creator series. So these are our motherboards for content creation. There we also have the subdivision TRX 40 on the AMD end and X299 on the Intel side. So both the high-end desktop platform for both processor manufacturers. Here again you will find Gen 4, PCI Express Gen 4 on AMD. Intel is currently limited to PCI Express Gen 3, but of course both support M.2. On our Intel models, on some of them you will still find U.2 as well.
Phil, do you have something in your assortment for U.2? Or is this more enterprise-like and or like a dying standard?
Yeah, I would say so. If I was to be very short in the answer.
Yeah, it's not very common what you see. It's usually either a SATA drive or an M.2 drive in the
like last generation, most of our motherboards still had U.2, but if you look at like the new Z490s, or new, you know, the recently introduced Z490s, they don't have this anymore. And yeah, M.2 is just a more easier form factor.
Yeah, and also I saw a comment further up saying, what should I get? Should I just get, NVMe or Gen 4? And obviously some comments can say there's, if I was just loading a game as an example, there's minimal difference. But obviously we don't know how the market's going to change in terms of the applications, how the games are going to start evolving as things progress. So if you're thinking about future-proofing and looking to buy a drive, and you're buying the components that, allow Gen 4 to be possible, I say, why not?
I think Gen 4 is a game changer, especially with RTX IO, and I think it's called Microsoft Direct Storage, Michiel?
Yeah, I think so. And it's also, especially on the storage end, I think, because Gen 4, for graphics cards it is supported right now, but still if you run it, for example,
1 frame per second or 1% even.
Yeah, even the latest generation RTX 30 series are not really bottlenecked by the Gen 3 interface yet, whereas storage already goes far beyond what, like 4 lanes on Gen 3, what you have on a regular M.2 slot with PCI Express Gen 3. SSDs can already go way beyond that. So the current generation, like the first wave of Gen 4 SSDs basically already goes up to 5,000 megabytes per second. For Gen 3, you will max out at 3,500, 3,600. So for storage is actually quite a big difference. So that's definitely something to keep in mind. And as Phil already mentioned, like in current games, the difference might be minor, but in future games with those future storage technologies like RTX IO, for example, this could be quite a big change.
I have an interesting question. Let me see, from Merrick on YouTube. Just curious, is it okay to RAID, let's say to use gaming SSDs in RAID, and or will it reduce the lifespan for everyday updates? So Phil, what is your thought about that? I mean, the enterprise drives are obviously, they have a higher lifespan or life expectancy.
To that, I mean, I'll refer back to the TBW rating again. In sort of a traditional so if we're talking to a gamer as a a customer, they don't want to be talking enterprise language. So terabytes written is more of a consumer-friendly language. Now, if I was to talk about the FireCudas in particular, whether it be our Gen 3 FireCuda 510 or Gen 4 FireCuda 520, they both have a 0.7 data writes per day. And what that means is on a 1 terabyte, you can use the drive up to 700 gig per day for five years, and that's its reliability rating. It's actually a lot higher than many, specifically on the FireCuda 510. And obviously, I saw a comment previously, the speeds between a Barracuda 510 and FireCuda 510 are close. So why would I pay more for FireCuda? It's because the endurance rating is, over double.
Yeah.
So it depends what you're using it for, and again, it's use cases.
If you look at RMA or failure rates, I'm not sure how to put this, but I mean, personally, my personal experience with hard drives, I had a lot of crashes in the past, and it's not about Seagate or whatever brand it is, but sometimes hard drive stops to work, and I never had this problem with SSDs.
And especially in notebooks.
Yeah, so is this something what you see as well, that the overall failure rate in SSDs is much lower than hard drives, or am I just a lucky boy?
God, what a question. When we look at failures of hard drives, when it really leaves our production line with all the QCs, it's all done by robots and nanotechnology, etc. It's not coming off that truck damaged. And because if you're, say, wafting a drive like this could create damage. If you've accidentally tapped it, that can create damage. But the majority of damage, and which can impact a hard drive's life cycle, is actually transit damage. Yeah. So when it gets shipped from Seagate to, I don't know, a European hub, the European hub has to go to a distributor, and the distributor has to sell it to, I don't know, an e-tailer, who then sells it to you. Yeah. So that's had 5 transit hops, and from our first hop, we have no control from that stage. Yeah. So the box could be turned, it could be rattled, it could be thrown down. It's very hard to control that situation. And I think there's about 172 moving parts inside of a hard drive. It's still, even though it's a 40-year-old technology, it's still probably one of the most hardware engineering technologies that are still available on the planet. Yeah. If you think like an 18 terabyte hard drive, there's 9 platters inside a 3.5 inch box. They're all spinning. You've got 9 arms that are reading top and bottom. It's very complex. But going back to your question, yeah, you've been unlucky. But also, what I would say is because we spend a lot of money making sure people use the right drive for the right purpose, and commonly people will use a Barracuda and sometimes shove it in an enterprise situation, and it's going to cripple the drive. But there's no way of us saying that that's what's happened. When the drive comes back, we know what's happened, but we're not going to go and question every person in the world about
you're
how
correct about
drives.
What I'm doing with hardware. I think all of viewers know I'm like torturing all hardware.
Yeah, I think for me it was a big difference, especially in notebooks, because I take the notebook everywhere, and it's in my bag, and I drop my bag on the ground, not very friendly to the notebook and the hard drive inside.
You're not friendly. You should be put in jail for torturing your keyboard. You're not friendly to keyboards.
Yeah, I'm also a very loud typist. That's true. But with my notebook, I take it everywhere, and sometimes it can receive a shock here and there. And also
and there.
With hard drives, it sometimes gave me bad sectors and stuff like that on the hard drive. But for me, SSDs were a blessing, not only in terms of speed, but also I've never broken an SSD while in my notebook, whereas I've broken different hard drives in the past.
Yeah, true. And we have inside Seagate storage, we will make rugged storage. But interestingly, whenever you buy a product because you're clumsy or you're in an environment where you may damage the drive because you're out on the scene taking photos or whatever, you actually protect the drive more than the normal drive without the rugged casing.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those things. It's just human nature, isn't it?
So let's talk a little bit about Iron Wolf. This is not about gaming, but this was like we asked you, hey, can you send us a hard disk sample? And you said, okay, I want to send you the Iron Wolf. So this is the only hard disk in our test, in our benchmark today. And can you, what's so special about this?
Yeah, so going back to this conversation about why would you use certain hard drives for different situations, if I was to go really boring on you, a traditional desktop drive like the FireCuda, it's meant to be used like 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, light use, not intensive workloads. That's what it does. And its annual rating on endurance is about 55 terabytes a year of throughput. Now for Iron Wolf Pro, this is an enterprise grade NAS. So if you're chucking big write cycles at it, it will sustain the whole write cycle. Its endurance rating is 300 terabytes per year. And obviously it's got some NAS features as well, like anti-rotational vibration sensors. So if you did stack all your hard drives together, then it's going to mitigate all that vibration to make them super reliable. And there's other software.
Can you show this one, please?
Yeah, so we go.
Maybe angle a little bit.
2 terabyte.
Yeah.
This is green, by the way, but it's keyed out because of our green screen.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. And now obviously we just released 18 terabyte recently. So that is that's an engineering max.
18 terabytes.
Because the aerial density on a platter is 2 terabyte. That's the max. So the max we can fit is 9 platters. That's 18 terabyte. So that's
still a regular 3.5 inch drive.
Regular 3.5 inch drive, 18 terabyte, same size as that. It'll just look differently. It'll be helium packed because all the internal friction inside, we've had to put helium in there to sort of remove that friction.
You have to chain it to your computer, otherwise it will float away.
Someone said to me, don't sort of quote me on this. It said, if you took a basic 1 terabyte hard drive and it's spinning 7,200 RPM, the velocity on ratio inside is similar to a Boeing 747 plane going 600 miles an hour, 5 meters off the ground.
Yeah.
It's don't hold me to that, but that's what I was told by someone once upon a time.
I'm already like the last maybe 5 years, maybe longer. I'm using SSDs. I have an SSD-free system.
So I'm not really into the hard disk.
Sorry.
SSD free or hard disk?
Sorry, hard disk free system. Yeah. So I'm not really into the hard disk technology, and I'm really not up to date. But I remember, you're talking about 7,200 RPM. I remember in the past, some brand, I don't know which one, had 10K RPM. If we look at hard disk is still SATA interface. Are there any? Storage, the size is increasing, 18 terabytes, that's amazing. But what about the rotation speed and what about the interface? Is there any development to faster interfaces?
Yeah, there's two. Well, we do have 10K drives, we do have 15K drives, but they're to sort of purpose the enterprise world. But they are actually a dying breed because of how SSDs are sort of coming in and doing the caching workload at the front. And then the hard drives behind the scenes that actually house, 65% of the worldwide data requirement still. And it will be the same for a long time. But the two technologies that we've got coming out, and I don't want to sort of bore everyone too far, but it's really, really kind of geeky and interesting. And I still don't get it with all the trainings that I've had at Seagate. And the technology is called HAMR, HAMR. So that's heat assisted magnetic recording. So not only is the disk going to be spinning and the writer head's moving around to sort of locate the data and write it, all those zeros and ones by magnets, but at the same time, there's going to be a tiny laser pointing down onto the platter. It's going to heat up the hard material, soften it, and it's going to open the lane by 5 times, up to 5 times. So it's like a vinyl player where it's going around on a track. Imagine that track is now 5 times as big. So you're essentially saying we've got a technology that's been used and tested with all the big data centers to allow us to get over that 18 terabyte threshold. And in theory, if we can get 5 times the amount of density on a platter, which is today 2 terabyte, that's 10 terabyte times 9, that's 90 terabyte. So we've got technology, just like, a Gillette razor, where it's like 3 blades, 4 blades, diamond cut. We do have that path to increase the size. Now, to your performance points, we are going to have hard drives which are going to be called single port and dual port. And what that means is you've got the write ahead, which is moving in between the disks. So that's what we call single port. And that, averagely that's 200 megabyte to 250 megabyte. But we're now going to have 2 heads inside, 2 actuators that are going to be working in unison, which means it's just going to double the performance, double the bus speed. So you're going to get mass storage hard drives running close to SATA SSD performances.
Yeah. Michiel, important question from Viper. I think he looks at you and he's wondering if you're allowed to work. What is your age?
If I'm allowed to work?
What is your age?
I'm older than you think. I'm 29 years old.
Oh my God, 29. You look so young. You look so...
So yeah, I'm allowed to work, unfortunately.
Well, that was my question. He only asked your age. Anyway, let's quickly do another giveaway.
That's a good idea. So for people who haven't participated yet, go to msi.com/2/insider. Our bot will also put it in chat on Twitch and YouTube once every now and then. So our next winner will be a $20 Steam Wallet Code giveaway, but at the very end of the stream we will have one big winner who will win the Seagate FireCuda 520 1 terabyte Gen4 SSD. So our next winner for a $20 Steam Wallet Code is, I'm not sure if I pronounce it correctly, but Kujang, something like that. Congratulations, you also won a $20 Steam Wallet Code. Keep an eye out on your mailbox. We will email it to you in the coming days.
Or maybe based on the country it is Kujang.
Could be. I'm not sure. So yeah, if you have participated, make sure to do so, because we will have more drawings throughout the stream. If you are already signed up, you will automatically be enrolled in the next drawings as well. So then you're fine for the rest of the stream.
Michiel, maybe you can start a benchmark. Let me capture.
Yeah.
Is it working? Yes.
So we've been talking about hard drives a little bit. So let's start off with the hard drive, I think.
So we this is the Iron Wolf.
Yeah. So the Iron Wolf
which
Pro,
one do you have there? 4
terabyte model. So let's start with Crystal Disk Mark. Let me see which one it is, because I've got so many drives installed. It's a G. So here we select a G, or you can also see 4 terabyte model.
I should write this down, right?
Yeah, I think later on we will have an overview with...
yeah, but just to double check. HDD Iron Wolf Pro.
I've just seen a question that keeps popping up, so you want to answer that. Can I download 512 M.2 NVMe SSD on my 1 terabyte hard disk? If you're meaning the full data that you have on your NVMe drive onto 1 terabyte, if you do, say, 512 gigabyte of transfer to a standard desktop, you will probably cripple the hard drive, if I'm being honest. But it all comes down to what hard drive you have. If that was an Iron Wolf Pro, it would just do a sustained data write for the life cycle of that load. Why you would want to do that, I don't know. But if you have unlimited internet and you've got time on your hands, why not?
This person maybe, yeah, the question is not 100% clear. It could be also that he's referring to if I want to back up my SSD to my hard drive. But then the internet thing is not really logical.
To me it sounds a bit like downloading more RAM. Maybe it was meant ironic, I'm not sure. But here we can see the Crystal Disk Mark results for, in this situation, the Seagate Iron Wolf Pro 4 terabyte hard drive. And you can see that it's 231 megabytes per second read and 229 megabytes per second in write speed. So for a hard disk drive, this is fast. Because I remember my old hard drive, I'm also SSD only now. I only have hard drives left in my NAS device. But in my personal computer, I only have an SSD left. But previously, when I had a hard drive, it was like 120 maybe megabytes per second. So also hard drives got quite a bit faster over time.
And now we can understand, you told everybody your age, so you said in the past, so now we know it can be a long time ago.
Yeah.
The 120.
Definitely.
No, but indeed, this is for SATA, this is quite fast, but still, later you will see, if you compare this to SSDs, this number is nowhere. But remember, and later we will also show you that, the cost per gigabyte on hard drives is much lower. So if you're talking about NAS, or you're talking about an own homemade backup server or something, or you want just to have some movies or other content,
it
photos.
Very much depends on what you do with it. If it's like for your holiday picture, for backupping your documents, for backupping videos and stuff like that.
Yeah. You don't need fast storage, and fast storage like SSDs is much more expensive.
Yeah, if you want to have 4 terabytes
compared to a hard drive.
SSD,
I mean, it's really affordable nowadays.
Yeah, but like 4 terabytes on an SSD is still quite expensive, especially if you're saving your holiday pictures and stuff like that on it. So for that purpose, I still think hard drives are very viable still. That's also why I still use them in my Nest device. Here you also see some examples of Nest devices. They're slightly bigger than the one I have at home, but you can make it as crazy as you want, basically. Yeah.
So I wrote down the scores. This drive also has the rescue recovery plan, but you also have this on more NVMe devices. So we're going to talk later about that. Correct, Phil?
Yeah. Yes, that's correct. Yeah.
Do you have anything to add to the Iron Wolf Pro story? I'm on from my side. I see Iron Wolf and Iron Wolf Pro. Maybe Michiel, you can go to the next slide. I'm not sure if there's still a slide about this.
I've now shown Crystal Disk Mark, but that's still a synthetic benchmark. So it's like it's not a practical situation. It's just like a benchmark. But maybe I can also show a little bit of file copying, like actually transferring very large video files to that hard disk drive. Yeah. There you can also see how it performs in a practical use case.
I think indeed what you say practical, because a lot of people use hard disks to store movies or to store larger files.
I prepared some files, so currently they're on my C drive. That's a Gen4 SSD where we're going to copy them from. I've got 3.
So for each benchmark with all the devices, the USB, the Gen4, Gen3.
Yes, I will demonstrate all of them with these video files, and these are actually recordings from our product videos that we make.
Can we maybe watch a little bit, Ja?
Sorry?
Can we see Ja doing funny?
I can open it up. You see, this is like the original recording. So this is not edited yet, so there might be still a lot of mistakes in there. Yeah. I'm not sure, but this is like a 19-minute video approximately. But this was recorded in 4K resolution. So this is almost 15 gigabytes in file size. Or no, it's even bigger. It's this is 19 gigabytes almost. This is almost 10 gigabytes, and I believe this is 15 approximately. So what we're going to do is we're going to copy these files from that Gen4 SSD to the Iron Wolf Pro hard drive. You can do this through Windows itself, but we noticed that the Windows Explorer, if you copy files, you sometimes still have a little bit of a bottleneck on the software end, basically.
We don't like Windows.
Yeah, it's like the speeds in Windows are not always steady, and I think it has to do with the way...
It's like the classic transfer joke about the Windows, like 90%, and then the last 10% you need to wait 1 hour.
Takes ages. But there are other tools that can provide these sustained speeds, because the drives can do it perfectly fine. So in this situation, we have the source, which is our Gen4 SSD, the video folder, with these 3 files. So it's the 19 gigabyte one, the almost 10 gigabyte one, and the 15 gigabyte one. So in total, we're approximately 45 gigabytes. So quite big. And we're going to transfer that to, let me see, this was the G drive, so our SATA SSD. So let's select that one.
Is this going to take like 5 hours? Or?
No, I think on the hard drive, probably a couple of minutes.
Okay.
Shouldn't take too long. Of course, on SSD, this will go way faster, so you will see the difference here at what you can expect. Because now we're really transferring very large video files from the SSD to the hard drive. And here you can also see the transfer rate.
One moment, I'm going to try if I can, sorry, I know. If I can zoom this in.
Yeah, it's a little bit small, so let's see if we can make this a little bit bigger.
If you always keep this application in this location.
It's in the middle of my screen, so that should be doable.
Okay.
So this is just transferring in the background, approximately 45 gigabyte of video footage.
Oh, we already started.
Yeah, it's already, it's been going for 42 seconds now,
Okay.
at a very steady speed. So in the meanwhile, we can answer some questions.
Yeah, I saw, well, not an interesting question. It was about not a new product. I think it was a CH120 or gaming chair. In a couple of months, I would say, when Assassin's Creed Valhalla launches, then we are also going to talk a little bit about gaming chairs.
I saw another question, but now I lost it in the chat. I'm not sure where it was.
Yeah, people are also talking about defragging and optimizing the SSDs. And actually, in a hard drive, you can use defrag in Windows, right? Or with a, is it in Windows? Yeah, Windows also has this built-in, Windows 10 at least. And you have the different application. But the SSD, you don't need to do this because they have the trim feature. Can you talk a little bit about this, Phil?
That's right, yeah. No, I mean, it should just trim automatically. Yeah, it's not complicated at all.
So actually, because in the past, over time, hard disk drives got a little bit slower in the end, and then you could do a little bit of defragmentation, so everything was properly sorted again, and that sped up your hard disk drive basically. But with SSDs, you don't need to do this anymore, so that's quite easy nowadays.
Yeah, I mean, I always look at hard drives as like a diesel engine. If it's going to keep running, it will keep running forever and ever and ever. So if you get a good hard drive, keep hold of it. It's also one of the, I would call it the safest place, because if you ever got into a situation where you did have to do data recovery, your chances are a lot higher on a hard drive than they are on an SSD if something silly was to happen. Obviously, we'll cover that with the data recovery dialogue later.
Eric, can you scroll down? It's not showing up the new chat messages. I see some questions about the different RPMs, because of course you have like the 7200 RPM, there's also 5500, 5900 for example. What kind of differences can you expect in between different hard drives?
Yeah, so if I was to talk to, so FireCuda, say one terabyte, 2 terabyte, 7200 spin, and then the other capacities are 5400 spin, and this is done purposely because of how the storage market is changing. So if someone was wanting to buy a large capacity hard drive, we're banking on it not being your primary storage. So for us to get you a better bang for buck, we believe that those types of hard drives are your backup drive, where you're accessing the data less frequently. So we wanted to make sure that we have a better cost structure for you. So we got up to 8 terabyte on a standard desktop hard drive, and that is definitely your best bang for buck. But use it as a last location, touch little kind of drive.
So that's where you put your holiday pictures, for example.
Yeah, exactly.
So, Michiel, this is for sure not going to take 5 hours?
No, it's already done.
Oh, it's done?
Yeah.
I don't see like a progress bar or flashing.
Look.
A boring application is this fast copy.
It also says, look, finished.
Okay, total time. Hey, I'm going to write this down.
So it's 3 minutes 25.
It's 26. You're cheating.
Sorry, 3 minutes 26.
Yeah,
My
yeah.
apologies.
Lucky to have me here.
So this is on the hard drive, SATA hard drive. So let's continue and first talk a little bit about the SATA SSDs, and later on we'll also run the same tests on a SATA SSD to see how they compare basically.
Yeah, let me talk about one issue or topic this morning. Boer Banana on Twitch is also talking about it. Erik, how do you scalp your own GPUs by error? I saw the news this morning online. That's the first time I heard about it. Apparently, in the USA, there is a company also related to MSI, which is selling our overstock or refurbished products. I guess via a different channel, but eBay is also one of them. And it seems they were also selling our new RTX 30. I don't know which model, so don't pin me on that. 3080, 3090, one of them. They also sold it for extremely high prices on eBay. This should not happen, of course. So I think MSI USA already brought out a statement. They're going to approach all the purchasers of those GPUs. I don't know how many there are. It shouldn't be a lot because there is not a lot of stock for those RTX models. This is coming in step by step. I think everybody's aware of the situation. And they're going to offer them, I believe, to send the product back or to
I believe it's a full
pay them
refund or the difference between the MSRP and the price what it was sold for.
Yeah, indeed. So and yeah, this should not happen normally. Or, I should not say that. I don't know that. This company should not have access to our regular products.
Stock. It should be the
and apparently they had, and you know, I don't want to speculate if this was one enthusiastic employee or how this happened. Yeah, basically shit happens, will be fixed and will not happen again. Well, of course, other shit will happen. You never know. But that's for next time. But not regarding to this. Okay, so let's
Can
move
you scroll
on.
down in chat because it's not automatically...
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Let me see. W4 Wonders is asking, does it affect Windows or other files if we're using the same primary storage for multiple games? What do you mean with it? I'm not sure what you're referring to. I see a question about warranty, but I'm not sure if that's about the hard disk drives or the VGA cards. For the VGA cards, yes, of course, warranty will be honored there. Yeah, let's continue with SATA SSDs.
Kappa is saying related, question mark. MSI owns this partner company. I don't know details, but with related, yeah, owning is the same. No, I don't know all the details about this. I can only tell you what I read in the how do you say that? In the statement, and yeah, know a little bit how the internal processes work. Okay, so let's go to the Michiel?
Yeah, I am, but it's not reacting properly.
Okay, so these are SATA
SSDs.
SSDs.
Yeah.
Yeah, so basically it's a very fast device, bottlenecked by a slow interface.
It depends on what you call slow. Like if you compare it to an M.2 slot that can support PCI Express,
sorry,
then yes, it's a slower interface. So this is just your regular 2.5-inch SATA SSD, as most people will know SSDs.
Yeah, I think most people years ago. How many years are SSDs already in the market? Like 8 years?
5 years? I think a little bit longer.
Yeah. But anyway, most people first bought this because then, yeah, it was still SATA based. Also, the first M.2 drives were still SATA based, but now everything is PCI Express and NVMe.
I think my first SSD was like 60 gigabytes or something.
60?
60 gigabytes.
Mine was 40.
Oh.
Oh, no, maybe even 30.
Oh, that's small.
It just fitted Windows.
This is a 1 terabyte model, for example.
Wow.
You have them even bigger. You also have them in smaller capacities.
Yeah.
So here you see them in an overview. For example, the FireCuda 120 that we have here go up to 2 terabyte. Then there is the FireCuda Gaming, even up to 4 terabyte. Phil, can you maybe tell us a little bit about the Seagate SATA SSD lineup?
Yes, so we've started with your call it your lowest end using QLC now, which is the BaRaCuda Q1.
So that's a quad level cell flash memory on there.
Correct, yeah. So when you look at obviously the specs that are there, you'll be able to see that the total terabytes written is a lot lower. But that's for people that are buying to a budget. They just want a benefit over hard drive, and they're still going to see a massive boost in performance with their everyday sort of computing needs. And I suppose then when you go up a level, which is using the TLC now, which is BaRaCuda 120, where you're maximizing the fullest potential to its maximum bus speeds, and you have on one of the best in the market in terms of reliability ratings as well, with a good cost per gigabyte as well. And then you've got the FireCuda, which is I know we added this to our range because we wanted to have a good, better, and best for the market. And going to your point here, where you're an all SSD kind of guy, and there's many people out there that are the same. They may have a motherboard which is just only got one M.2 slot. So then they're forced to use a SATA interface, so they choose an SSD. The FireCuda, even though the bus speed is not faster, the quality of the NAND that's on there is a much, much higher grade. As you can see, the terabytes written is 5,600 terabytes. If you're a content creator or some sort of professional that are doing really intensive workflows, this is the drive to go for. So that is what you're paying for. As well, it comes with the data recovery package on top of that, and obviously I'll talk to that in a sort of whole, a unified.
I think these drives are great because, I have a lot of relatives or family, brother, sister, they have an older PC, probably already 5-6 years old.
They don't complaining that it's slow.
Yeah, they complain it's slow. What should I upgrade? When I look at the system, they don't have NVMe. Oh, sorry, they don't have an M.2 slot. It's still SATA. And if a system has SATA 6 or SATA 6 gigabytes per second, sorry. I mean, this is the best upgrade you can do to a system. Just replace a hard drive with an SSD. It will feel totally new.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true.
Also, when I look at these different models, like the first thing I noticed is that the advertised speeds, they're all kind of similar to each other, and that's of course the bottleneck of the SATA interface. It basically maxes out there. But the main difference here is the total terabytes written, the TBW rating, and that's indeed a huge difference in between those different drives. So that has to do with the flash memory that is used on different drives.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and from QLC to TLC, there's always a huge jump from those two, just the way the data has been processed on those NAND chips.
So,
yeah, but yeah, the FireCuda is a beast, and it is best in class of its form, and it is well priced. So if you're comparing apples with apples.
So let's do a little bit of demonstration, I think.
So Michiel, we have the middle one here, right?
I have the BaRaCuda 120, so the one in the middle, the one with the green.
Yeah.
That's the one I currently have. I have the 1 terabyte model. This one.
Yeah, it's green, so it's a little bit blurry.
Yeah. So let's do a little bit of benchmarking with it, so we can see what the speed is compared to the SATA hard disk drive that we just tested. So let's start with Crystal Disk Mark. So this is my BaRaCuda 121 terabytes. So
Ruud helped us out, and he labeled everything perfectly.
Yeah, so it's easy to find. Here we have it. Because I've left like 3 1 terabyte SSDs installed, so it's you cannot easily see which one.
This is also SSD.
Yeah, it's the SATA SSD. But here I can. So it's the F drive. So let's run the same benchmark here.
So this is the 1 terabyte drive?
This is a 1 terabyte SATA SSD, indeed.
And later you will see, we will talk about it, that there is a speed difference between 500 gig and 1 terabyte if you talk about M.2 drives. But this is a SATA drive, so there is a little difference because of the SATA interface.
Yeah. And this is something you will see nowadays. The speed difference in SATA SSDs is minor because they all are all bottlenecked by the interface basically. Yeah. So indeed, like Phil already mentioned, the main difference is in the durability of the drive. So yeah, we can see a big jump already.
It's almost double. I wrote it down. It's 229 for the read speed.
Yeah.
So this is double.
Yeah.
And it's oh sorry, I'm wrong. I will correct myself. It's 231. The hard drive was 231 for the the read speed, and it was 229 for the write speed. So both are more than double.
Yeah, and another big difference
anyway
between a hard disk drive and an SSD is the latency. And that's something you will, for example, notice when booting up Windows, when booting up programs. So if you, for example, use an SSD and a hard disk drive, try to get your Windows installation, but also the programs that you use on your SSD.
Yes.
So especially if you work with the more demanding programs, for example, the Adobe programs, Adobe Premiere, Adobe After Effects, Adobe Photoshop, other content creation programs, they usually run a lot better on an SSD, and that also has to do with the latency compared to a hard disk drive. Of course, with a hard disk, it needs to spin up, especially if you haven't been using it for a while, then it will spin down, of course, to save some power. So for your programs, for your Windows installation, stuff like that, do that on your SSD in this situation.
Can you also do a real world test?
Yes, I will do the same test again with fast copy indeed. So we still have C, that's our Gen 4 boot drive. Which one was it? I believe it was F, is the FireCuda 120. So let's select F. And there we go. Yeah, so you can already see that speeds are a lot higher than what we previously saw with the hard disk drive. So yeah, around double the speed. I think we had 326 on the previous one.
Sorry, I didn't wrote that down. I only have the transfer time, which is 3 minutes 26.
Yeah, and so it should be approximately half.
That's 1.5 minutes.
Polite Gaming is asking in YouTube, can SSDs also be repaired if they have a fatal SSD error? Phil, can you maybe elaborate on that?
Can they be repaired? I definitely don't have the answer.
I think it also depends on what the error is, probably, right?
Yeah, I mean, we'll cover this topic on the data recovery side because, you know, a typical question that we see all the time is, what's your success rate? And the success rate depends on how much data there is, what's actually happened. Is it a deletion? Is it a malware attack? Is it, you know, it depends case to case. It's all unique. Yeah. It's a very, very hard question to answer depending on what's actually happened. Nor would I be the one to be answering that type of question. Mm-hmm. If I'm being brutally honest.
On Twitch, Scoopsroo is asking, is there any good reason to run a SSHD over an SSD? So SSHD, I think
it's a hard drive with SSD caching, basically.
Yeah, with like.
Yeah, that's right. They're still in the channel. Sorry, they're still being sold, but we're no longer producing them. We haven't been producing them for a year actually. But it was a good go-between actually because well, if you look at it in this way, let's say you've got on your cache 100 tasks, but on the SSHD it was 8 gigabyte of cache, where a traditional hard drive back then was 64 meg. So that's a huge benefit. So in those 100 tasks, depending on what you're doing and what you're frequently accessing, anything that is old, it will drop off the bottom off the cache and put the most commonly used one at the top. So it actually acted as quick as an SSD on everything that was on the cache. Most of us we open and upload our applications or the same game that we've been playing for a period of time. But if you were to buy a new laptop and put an SSHD inside, for the drive to learn the OS, it takes the 4th power on cycle to go into the cache. So it's a constant learning drive as you use it. And that's where people were going, okay, I want it to be slightly faster, but I want 2 terabyte just at a budget cost. And that's where FireCuda works. Now, because of how the market has changed, we decided to make the FireCuda brand all SSD.
Yeah. And I also think they used to be more viable in the past because regular SSDs were quite expensive back in the day.
Yeah.
Crazy high.
And now that SSDs have gotten much more affordable, you see that many, especially notebooks, for example, already come with an SSD, where indeed in the past the SSHDs were especially used in notebooks. I haven't seen them much in desktop usage.
It's finished.
So yeah, you usually just see an SSD nowadays.
Yeah, I mean, the SSHD was a really, really good upgrade for console users because, again, talking about, the Xbox expansion card, high cost, and they're sort of hard pill to swallow. But then again, if they could buy a 2 terabyte for €100, 100 USD, £100, and put it into their console, which originally cost £400, it's easier for them to warrant that. So that's where it really worked, laptops and consoles, which is where most people were using SSHDs.
Yeah.
So this one is doing 1 minute 38.
Yeah, so approximately half the time as well, when we compare it to the regular hard disk drive.
So yeah, and with the SSD like this, the SATA SSD, your system already feels much snappier. One moment, Michiel.
I'll pull it back up.
Like this.
So 138, you got it written down?
138 I wrote down, and 453.4 MIB, man in black per second. Yeah, Ruud told me this joke, so I need to repeat it. Copyright, Ruud. Probably not,
so
but...
Get rid of the file that we just copied again. There we go.
We have a giveaway, Michiel.
Yeah, so if you haven't participated yet in our giveaway, where we're giving away several $20 Steam wallet codes, and at the very end also a very nice Seagate.
Maybe show in the detail cam what people can win.
Seagate FireCuda 520 SSD.
Small, but
this is a 500 gigabyte model, but the winner will get a 1 terabyte model. The winner will be announced at the very end. So if you haven't participated yet, go to msi.com/2/insider. And then we have our next winner for a $20 Steam wallet code. Congratulations, Mocker. Keep an eye out on your mailbox, because in the coming days we will mail the code to you. If you haven't participated, please do so. If you have already signed up for the giveaway, no need to do it again, because you will automatically be included in the next drawings throughout today's live stream.
Okay, so next up are, I guess, the
M.2 SSDs, and then specifically the NVMe, so the PCI Express SSDs, because in the past M.2 was also quite common on SATA interface, but then of course you still have that same bottleneck that we see with regular 2.5
sorry,
inch.
Phil missing again. Phil.
Yeah.
So Phil, do you still offer M.2 SSDs on SATA interface?
We never even started. We saw it as a short trend.
Yeah, I think back in the day.
So,
back in the day, look at you.
Well, a couple of years ago, if you had an M.2 slot and you wanted to have an SSD, then NVMe was a lot more expensive than SATA.
Yeah, absolutely.
But PCI Express, so NVMe SSDs, they got a lot cheaper, and now the price difference is minor. So also from my perspective, I would always, if you're going for an M.2 SSD, go for the PCI Express version. It's a minor price difference, and it's a huge step up in speed.
Yeah.
I think indeed a couple of years ago, yes, it made sense to go for the SATA one because it was a lot cheaper. Nowadays, not anymore, and you're missing out on a lot of speed.
Yeah, it's also important to notice that a lot of motherboards nowadays don't offer an M.2 with SATA anymore. So let's say a few generations ago, you had, like, it was auto switching, it did PCI Express, NVMe, or SATA. But nowadays there are more motherboards on the market who only do PCI Express signal, so they
it
don't
depends
have
a bit. Usually you also see that, for example, the primary slot is switchable, but the other ones are not. So you, for example, have in some situations you maybe have 3 M.2 slots on your motherboard, but only one can do SATA, and all of them can do PCI Express.
Yes.
So also in terms of compatibility, PCI Express is just the way to go now, I would say. So here we have an overview of your M.2 SSDs that Seagate is currently offering. Can you talk us through a little bit about the different models and the differences in between, for example, the FireCuda Gen 3 and the FireCuda Gen 4?
Yeah. It's kind of a similar story, right? On sort of more entry-based NAND, as you go lower down the curve on capacity, the performance actually significantly goes down. So what I've taken here is I've taken the 1 terabyte spec card of all the drives for the fairest comparison. But if I was to drop the FireCuda 510 down to a 500 gigabyte, I'm just getting up here, so I'm getting it all correct first time round. The sequential write drops from 3000 to 2400. So depending on the NAND that you're using, as you go down on the capacity, the speeds drop. So do the IOPS.
So that's something to keep in mind
as well.
Because even though it's basically the same model,
Yeah.
so for example, you're getting a FireCuda 510. If you buy the 1 terabyte model, it will be faster than when you buy the 500 gigabyte model.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, and 1 terabyte is the perfect area to sort of see where your bang for buck is, absolutely, for whether it be performance and cost structure as well, to get the maximum out of your hard-earned cash. But then we move over to the FireCuda 510. Someone said in the comments earlier that the actual read and write sequential is very similar to the FireCuda 510, but as you can see, it's the endurance cycle. It jumps up significantly.
Is this also because of the QLC versus TLC flash memory?
Yeah, so I think the FireCuda 510 is a 0.5 data write per day. It could be 0.3, but can't remember. But the FireCuda is 0.7 throughout. So the quality of the NAND that we're putting on there can just sustain much more abuse for the more demanding user, I'd say. If you're looking at Gen 3 and you're looking at the top flight of other offerings that are out there, and you are comparing our specs, user to user, if say another brand was, I don't know, 50 meg faster on the read or the write, you're not really going to notice that difference. So you've got to look at, where's my value coming from? And I suppose the value on the FireCuda 510 versus the many that are out there is the endurance is over double. And we've bolted on 3-year data recovery just for peace of mind in case the worst thing happens.
And then we have to step up from the 510 to the 520. And there you see quite a big speed bump.
You see quite a big speed bump.
And that's, of course, the Gen 4 interface.
Yeah, and I'm twitching a little bit because, the new year there's going to be something even better. But again, from now. But we've got this Gen 4 drive, and it's seriously fast. We're the only ones to customize the controller from the Phison base controller, change the firmware. We even added backdoor security protection. What does that mean? It just means if someone's trying to do a malware attack from the back, we've got another security feature that no one else has. And its endurance rating is really, really high, and the data sheet doesn't lie.
Yeah.
Fresh out the box, of course.
And we will...
And both FireCudas, again, including 3 years of rescue data recovery.
Absolutely, yeah.
So let's maybe take a look at these drives in practice then.
Well, this...
On our testing system.
This shouldn't take long?
No. NVMe drives are pretty quick at this stuff. Well, pretty quick, I should say very quick. So let's start off with the Gen 3 drive.
That's the second one?
That's our FireCuda 510. It's a 1 terabyte model Gen 3 SSD. It's drive D in this situation.
Yeah. And just to add something as well, the first wave of Gen 4 drives that have been produced based on the current controllers, that's not at its max speed that it can get to. There's still a lot more headroom on how it can evolve. Just like when Gen 3 drives first came out, they started at a level, then they've been improved and improved and improved. It's no different to Gen 4. So this isn't the highest height that you're going to go to. So look forward to that. It all comes down to, do you really need that speed? And obviously some gamers love it because they just want big numbers. You just need it. But then obviously some people are gamers, content creators, and they're doing really intensive video 4K editing, and they do need it. So again, use case.
So this is about 3000. Well, actually 3100.
Yeah, a bit over. Yeah.
That's like 8 times, 9 times. Not that.
No, it's about 6 times the speed of the SATA SSD.
Yeah, 6 to 7 times indeed.
Yeah.
Nice.
So that's a big step up, and that's especially
later,
the interface just makes a huge
people
difference.
asking in the chat, can you please put them next to each other, the scores? Later with my overview with all the scores.
Yeah.
And fast copy?
Yeah. So we've had the benchmark, but now let's do a real world test. So again, we're copying this from a Gen 4 SSD, and we will copy it around 45 gigabytes of video footage to our FireCuda 510 1 terabyte Gen 3 SSD to see what it can do. So the SATA SSD was 1 minute 38 seconds.
Yeah.
We can already see that the transfer rate for this drive is much higher.
This should be then divided by 7 or something?
Yeah, 6 or 7 approximately.
What is that? Oh, it's finished already.
It's already finished.
Oh, one moment. I didn't do the zoom function.
You didn't even do the zoom function.
Can you do this again? This is like 16 seconds.
Yeah, I can do this again. Wait, I need to remove the folder. Then I can do this again. So let's delete this.
Yeah.
And let's run it again.
1, 2, 3.
And here you can see that the transfer rate is a lot faster than the SATA drive. It's still increasing, but it just stops because it's already transferred.
That's it. Oh, no, we should take the 16.6 or this one.
Yeah, whichever you like best.
Because probably this is cached.
No, this one is a little bit slower now.
Oh, it's slower?
Yeah, but it's
strange.
Margin of error. So whatever you like, 16.6 or 18.2. It's a minor difference. Like for the SATA one, it was 138, and for the, what was the SATA SSD? Or the SATA hard disk drive, sorry?
3 minute 26.
3 minute 26. So if you're going to work with very large video files and you need to transfer them from A to B, go for a PCI Express
Is this
SSD.
a questionary?
No.
Which one is faster, A or B?
And this was...
one moment, Michiel, can I see the transfer speed?
Yes.
That's
2463.
Yes.
And it was still increasing, but the test was already finished. So, yeah, we didn't even get to see the maximum, basically. So let's remove it, and now we're going to change...
now we're going to the Gen 4
the Gen
SSD,
4
the FireCuda 520.
Yeah. So there we go, it's drive E. So now we're transferring files from a Gen 4 SSD.
I think you first need to do...
let's first do Crystal Disk Mark, indeed. And this was drive 521 terabyte. It's E.
Is it possible to get a better GPU for a laptop? No, that's not possible. Some have it soldered on the PCB. Some have it on the how do you say that? With the MXM module. If you have an MXM module, you can replace it. The problem is always the cooling. You need to have the right cooling for the right TDP and the right location. So, yeah, don't touch it. I mean, don't try to upgrade this. You need to be lucky, find the right MXM module in the right TDP class, and then probably because of the same TDP, yeah, it's a little bit faster.
So we've got some results, Eric.
Yes.
You write them down again. So we saw
4993.5.
So in the Gen 3 we're at 3100 and now we're at almost 5000 megabytes per second.
Yeah, so it's a little bit slower because of our system, right?
Yeah, we're currently also running NDIs for the capture. So we have some load on the system that will have.
We talked about last week about maybe run this again. We talked last week about that we need to find some time about what is the impact of NDI capturing, because we were discussing like, is it 10%, is it 5%?
It depends a little bit on what you're doing on it, what the impact is.
Yeah.
So now we're slightly over 5,000.
Doesn't matter. I'm going to use the first score. That's I mean, it's also 5K, but
yeah.
That's also what we did with the Gen 3 SSD.
Burbana's asking on Twitch, why does Phil's head have wings?
There you go. That's the FireCuda. There you go. So I use it in all my sort of work calls, and people would make comments that I've grown new ears. It's comical.
So your hearing should be okay.
Yeah. And I can fly.
Okay, so this is the FireCuda 520, so it's the Gen 4 SSD.
This is the exact drive you can win today.
Yes.
So make sure to participate in the giveaway, because this is the performance, if your motherboard of course supports PCI Express Gen 4, then this is the kind of performance you can expect from your SSD.
Now it's difficult, this will be like 12 seconds.
Yeah, I hope 13? We can get it up to speed even with, it should be a little bit faster. So again, we're copying from our Gen 4 SSD, the 500 gigabyte model, to the 1 terabyte Gen 4 SSD. So both are FireCuda 520 SSDs. So that's drive E. There we go. Can you enlarge the screen before the test is over?
Sorry, you're correct. Yes, done.
.6 seconds.
Oh, nice.
So now we've had all internal storage tested. Can you give us an overview of the time it took from the hard disk drive to the SATA SSD to Gen 3, Gen 4?
Yes, so time.
Yeah.
If we take a hard drive to transfer these you transfer 3 video files, correct?
Yeah, so almost 45 gigabytes in file size.
Yeah, almost 45 gigabytes. So
files.
with a hard drive, it's 3 minutes and 26 seconds. An SSD on a SATA interface is 1 minute 38, so it's already half faster. Then a Gen 3 M.2 SSD PCI Express is 16.6 seconds, 16.6. Yeah, let's say 17. And Gen 4 SSD, this one, it's 12.6.
Yeah, and as Phil already mentioned, Gen 4 will get even faster, because this is not even the maximum of the interface.
But
this is the first generation, and it's already crazy
about 10
fast.
seconds maybe.
Yeah, but they can still increase, because now we're achieving speeds of approximately 5,000 megabytes per second. But the interface can go even further than that.
Phil, you didn't want to talk about, but can you just nod when I say we will see this product still this year, or will it be? No, that's not a good question. Will we see this new product this year? I see the wings trying to fly away.
No, it
okay,
will be
next year. Okay,
it will be next.
Sounds like a CES product.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we're also preparing for CES, so everybody's like, hey, what product are we going to show? CES will be a virtual event.
People are asking if I can transfer even more to see what speeds it can achieve. So let me see if I can duplicate this.
Now you're going to break the test.
I'm going to break the test.
So this is transfer on a Gen4 500.
I'm just duplicating the files a little bit now. So I'm copying this to make the total folder bigger, and then I'm going to perform the same test. So instead of almost 45 gigabyte, we will go to almost 90 gigabyte.
More, ja?
Yeah, so the SSD can get more up to speed. Okay, there we go. We just doubled the file size, so let's see how big the folder is. We're now at 87.6 gigabyte. So let's go back to...
Did you already delete it?
Fast copy, I'm going to check now. It's this one. Yes, I already deleted it.
Otherwise 1 second done.
E, and then execute.
This is the Gen 4.
Yes, this is Gen 4 to Gen 4. So we're now copying almost 90 gigabytes of video footage from the 500 gigabyte Gen 4 SSD to the 1 terabyte. So this is the read of the 500 gigabyte Gen 4 SSD and the write of the 1 terabyte Gen 4 SSD.
Should this be double?
Should be. Did I make a mistake maybe? Speeds are... Did I select the right drive? Should be okay. Let's perform it again.
1 moment.
That's a big file. Let me see if it's empty again. Yeah. Okay.
Too many drives.
Yeah, too many drives. So C to E. AMD Computing is asking, is that a 3090 on the test bench? No, it's a 3080 Ventus. Oh, we scammed someone. Twitch apparently said that we're going to play Valorant.
Yeah, and I also saw Merry Christmas. Sorry for that.
Merry
well,
Christmas
not for the Merry Christmas, but for the Valorant.
We're just early with our Merry Christmas message. We start in January.
Yeah, it's that whole year. Don't worry, guys.
Yeah, so there we go. It takes a little bit over half a minute to transfer almost 90 gigabytes.
Yeah, so this is Gen 4.
This is Gen 4.
That's strange because it's 12 seconds. Well, let's say 13.
Yeah, but eventually your speed will always go down a little bit if you have load on it.
That is because of the heat. So actually now we should put the heatsink on to cool it down.
Could be the heat. I don't think so because we're running an open test bench with air conditioning.
Yeah,
on.
we also don't have much time.
Yeah. We can run the same test with Gen 3 as well.
But can you maybe check here the next slide, because I think it's then I will prepare a giveaway.
Let's run this in the background.
Prepare, it's easy, just click.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is about the data recovery service, Phil.
Oh, data recovery, yeah.
Yeah, so
sure.
I think this, you told me about it. This is a new service from Seagate, right?
Yeah, well, yeah. So we've always had. We bought the service many years ago, and it's based in well, for Europe, it's in Netherlands, and we have a sort of dust-free lab where we reconstruct drives, recover data, not just our own products. It could be a pen stick. It could be flash on a camera. It could be a hard drive. But traditionally, we've always offered in our Ironwolf Pro drives 2 years free data recovery, which you need to register the drive to have that benefit. But now we've put everything on steroids, and we're just waiting for all this sort of content on our website to come through and do all the collateral out. But on any FireCuda internal SSD, any Ironwolf product, SSD or hard drive, and not for this channel, but also surveillance drives as well, all of them come with 3 years data recovery baked into the serial number. So if for whatever reason you have your drive and you have a problem with your data, it's one use, by the way, it's one use within that 3 years. And anyone who has been burnt with data loss in the past and had to pay for it, they understand the height of the cost that it is. And so to get this one chance saloon for free is pretty impressive for which is now 3 years. So on our website, you'll see supports, then you'll see warranty and replacements. And then step 2, that's the first image that you'll see about warranties. And then if you scroll down, you'll see the data recovery services, and it says make a rescue claim here. Just to give you a little bit more about that process. So you have to prove when you bought it. So that is the start date of your plan, because that's when you own the drive. And then they'll ask you particular questions about what's happened. And the following day, depending on the time, you will get a free package arriving to your doorstep the next day. You put your drive inside with any paperwork we asked you to print off and put inside. That is sent to the lab in Netherlands,
for Europe.
And we recover the data.
Yeah,
for Europe, sorry. For Europe it is. And we say it's a 2-week turnaround time, can be quicker. And how you get that data back, it's a tracking service as well, so it tells you the process from start to finish as if you were ordering stock online. But when we recover the data, and depending about the situation, that will change the time frame it takes to get that data. Also, we may even contact you back to understand a little bit more about what has actually happened. So it's a real service in play. And let's say we recover majority of your data. How you get that data back is via a 60-day online encryption key to download, or we may even send you an external hard drive with the data on, and you get to keep it.
Yeah, this is amazing when I hear about it. I mean, I had some hard disk failures in the past. I like most people, backup policy is like not existing. And then you always need to think about should I get this back? In the end, I didn't do. Because I mean, it was not. There were no photos on it, and I had was outdated, but I had some copies, not recent enough. And I looked into services like this, and it's quite expensive. So this is really I believe a big benefit.
Yeah, and it's kind of like an insurance policy, isn't it? It's in case stuff happens. And, let's say you got your office or your place where and let's say you've got kids. They come in and you're looking at your wedding photos because you're trying to smooze your wife or whatever. And your kid comes in, you just gone to the toilet or whatever, and they click delete. You're absolutely knackered.
Yeah.
So, there are sort of tools out there, but if you want to give it to an expert that can do the best job for you, the service is included, and the turnaround's pretty quick. But you're talking. Sorry, I can only talk in pounds because that's where I've seen it. But if you were to sort of change that, I would say an average cost for one drive data recovery is in the ballpark of about $700, £500, €600 in that kind of ballpark.
You do backups?
Yes, for my important files, I like pictures and stuff like that, important documents. I have a backup on my NAS and in the cloud.
It's like automatic program which backs up, or is it you like between two beers? Let's back up something.
Yes, I manually do that, but I actually also I work on those documents in the cloud usually.
Okay.
So they're already there. Also, when I change any documents, they're already there, and I manually back up it from the cloud to my own NAS.
Yeah, I noticed cloud is also not that safe.
No, that's why I want to have that backup on my NAS as well.
Because I was just talking to one of my colleagues this morning. Last week I told them, hey, I still have 1 terabyte in the cloud and I'm going to put some files there, which I did. And then this morning I saw on the news that they had a hard drive, actually 2 hard drive failures in 1 week, and they lost some data.
For the cloud storage provider. Yeah.
Happens. So
Yeah,
even in the cloud you can lose data.
Yeah.
What I like about this rescue service is that this is stuff that you usually only see for enterprise stuff, but you're also offering this on, for example, your gaming SSDs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's it's a huge statement as well, right? And a great question that I get asked, when we started this conversation is, what's your success rate? We've been doing hard drives for a lot longer, so we have about a 90% success rate of getting data back off your drive. SSD, we haven't been doing it as long, but we have been doing it on enterprise. But to sort of give you a stat based on these drives, it's very hard to give. Plus, it's situational. What has actually happened depends on the rate of possibilities. But the fact that we've got it, and that there is an option to have a chance of getting data back, where another other brand that I'm aware of that offers this for free, is a huge value add. And it's definitely something that I'm sort of ramming down.
Yeah, you should advertise more with this.
Fantastic.
Because I only heard about it when we were talking.
Yeah, it's all fresh and new. I've seen in the comments. Someone says, "Oh, where can you get that? That background?"
Yeah, the wallpaper.
Seagate have like an open portal. So if you just type in Seagate brand portal, you can literally go on there yourself, no login. You can get all the assets from Seagate. But if you just type in FireCuda key art, you'll see this behind me and a few other.
Phil is not on
variants.
it, so if you want Phil on it, just make a screenshot for your wallpaper.
Special edition.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Okay, so
I can't.
Let's pick another winner, I think, for a giveaway.
Again, what is it?
What is what?
Yeah, the
giveaway. This is still a $20
Steam
wallet code. So if you haven't participated yet, go to msi.com/2/insider or directly participate in the link that our bot will put in chat on Twitch and YouTube. There you can perform certain actions. The more actions you perform, the bigger chance you will have to win. And at the very end, we will have one big winner who will win a Seagate FireCuda 520 1 terabyte Gen 4 SSD.
Yeah.
But the next one is still a $20 Steam wallet code. Can you pull up the giveaway screen?
Oh, you didn't announce who?
No, because our next winner is Redeemer87. Congratulations, you also won a $20 Steam wallet code. Keep an eye out on your mailbox because we will email it to you.
I was just going to check if our chatbot was still active in YouTube and Twitch, but it seems it is.
Okay, good. So if you haven't participated yet and you want to have a chance to win that 1 terabyte Gen 4 SSD, make sure to do it now. Now you still have the chance. So we've been talking about a lot of internal storage devices, hard drives, SSDs, SATA SSD, M.2 SSD, Gen 3, Gen 4. But Seagate also offers a lot of external devices. And we've got a couple of them here, like for example the FireCuda gaming SSD, the USB 20G drive that is. We have the FireCuda gaming dock, a Thunderbolt dock. And you have some more external storage products. Can you maybe talk us through a little bit about what Seagate offers for external usage, so what you can easily take with you?
Yeah, I mean, obviously what we can see on the slide now is we've got continuing the sort of name families so people get used to of brand logic. But Barracuda Fast, it's a straight up external SSD. It's got the normal interface, so you're always going to be bottlenecked with that speed, and it's and it has got a light on it. Wow! So it can go faster if you turn that light on.
It will go up tremendously when you switch that light on.
Yeah. And then we go up to the FireCuda gaming SSD, where we are using the next generation of USB-C, which is always capped out at 2,000 megabyte per second. Again, it's got a lovely RGB strip, so you can customize to your workspace, your color coding, your mood maybe. And then the FireCuda dock. It's not an SSD. The FireCuda dock is a docking station with lots of connections. It's really sort of geared up towards the kind of pro laptop users who are mobile with their drive. mobile with their laptop, but when they come back to their, their workspace where they've got their multiple monitors, their keyboard, their mouse, their mic, everything else, they can literally plug in one cable and they don't need to move anything else. And it's got a 4 terabyte inside, which is actually an Iron Wolf drive, so it's not a standard hard drive. And then it's got an expandable M.2 slot as well, which you can pull out, which is for Gen 3, but there's no harm putting a Gen 4 in there, it will just damn clock itself. But this isn't the full range. I'm just going to show on my screen here. This is, I don't know if you can see that, how tiny it is. I'll put it next to my face. It is so small.
FireCuda
it's like smaller than a credit card. That's called an expansion SSD. So it's smaller than a credit card, not as thin, of course, but it's still thin and unnoticeable. But that's like your really cost effective. Then there's another one here. Cool. I don't know if you can see that. Oh, that's because of the background. But this is the same size, but it's got a lovely fabric front. Ooh. But really, it's got more software features for backup, and you get some Adobe free on it, and Milo for doing editing and stuff. But obviously, you can see there's a small little race car, and it just sort of puts a perspective of how small that is. And then obviously, then it goes up to FireCuda Fast. We've also got Xbox in the same design as the FireCuda Fast, which comes with 2 years Games Pass. And obviously you have to pay for the licensing fee, but that's that's the way of the world.
Indeed. Michiel, because I think you have some right here.
I have some of this here indeed. We've already been showing the FireCuda gaming SSD before, so it's also quite small. And this is the USB 20G one. So USB 3.2 Gen 2 x 2. It has a USB-C connector right here, and it's also important that, for example, if you connect it to like the Creator TRX40 motherboard that we're using today, that you also connect it to the USB Type-C 20G USB connector on the motherboard, because if you will connect it to another USB port, you will not actually benefit from the faster interface. So before we go into the FireCuda gaming dock, maybe we can do some benchmarks with the gaming SSD, so the 20G SSD. So I think we will use our regular testing method. Let's start off with Crystal Disk Mark. So let's first take a look which one it is. So we have the FireCuda gaming SSD USB 20G. So that's the H drive. That one. It's the 500 gigabyte model. So let's take a look at the write and the read speeds.
People should not expect fast speeds compared like NVMe drives, right? It's still USB.
Yeah, this is so it's still very fast. So it's a lot faster than a SATA SSD.
Yeah, indeed.
But it's not as fast as, for example, an internal PCI Express Gen 3 4-lane interface.
Yeah. Well, still 2.
But for external storage, this is very fast. So it's approximately 2,000 megabytes per second for both reading and writing. So to put this into perspective, with the SATA SSD, you're around 500. With the NVMe Gen 3, you're like in between 3,000 and 3,500. And with a Gen 4, you're in between 4,500 and 5,000 for your read and your write speeds. So it's for external storage, this is really fast. So if you're, for example, shooting on location and you quickly want to transfer large video files, stuff like that, or if you want to have, for example, if you have a very compact system and you have limited storage, and for example have certain games that you don't want to have installed by default on your internal SSD, you can quickly plug something like this in.
Phil's wing have started to glow after seeing the performance of his own product. This is a 500 gigabyte model, right? So yeah. Can we expect that a 1 terabyte is faster, or is this bottlenecked by the interface? Difficult to say, right? This is actually the first product we had on our test bench with USB 20, because there are not that many devices on the market. They're coming. And we already have on our, let me see, Z490 motherboards. Mm-hmm. Most of our Z490 motherboards have come with USB 20 gig. Yeah. It's a new interface, a new step. It's actually, the technical term is
it's also
USB.
On many of our B460 motherboards.
Sorry?
Also on multiple of our B460 motherboards come with that interface.
Yeah, indeed. So the technical name is USB 3.2 Gen2 X2.
Yes,
But
or
we call
super
it
speed USB 20 gigabits per second.
Yeah, and the version before that was 10 gig, and the version before that was 5 gig. So it's actually double of USB 3.2, USB 3.2 Gen 2. Yes.
Yeah.
All this. We should have a table with all these confusing names.
So yeah, this is the synthetic benchmark. So we had Crystal Disk Mark, but let's also do the practice test with the.
Yeah. I think you still need to remove some video files. Or did you do that already?
I think I removed all of them. Yeah. So I've got my
all
regular.
Of them. That's not good.
I reversed to my regular testing setup, so we can compare it to the other scores. So this is almost 45 gigabytes of video footage, 4K video footage. And we're going to copy that from our Gen4 SSD to our external USB 3.2 Gen 2 x 2 SSD, the FireCuda gaming SSD in this situation.
Below.
Let me see, that
H.
is drive H, there we go.
I would estimate 22, 25 seconds.
Yeah, should be quite accurate. Nah, probably it needs a bit of time to start up. Yeah, but it should be within half a minute, I would say.
Yeah, it's difficult.
There we go, 28.6 seconds.
That's me being off estimating.
So this is almost 45 gigabytes of 4K video footage.
Yeah,
transferred in
for external drive,
seconds.
this is very fast.
Yeah. And this is not internal storage, this is external storage. So
yeah, maybe you can show people what, again, let me see where you are.
Yeah, it's a little bit hard. Here we go.
Oh, you see the LED?
Yeah, got a nice LED strip right here.
Can we show in the detailed cam? Yeah,
yeah, it's hard to see on the detail cam. Right here it is.
Milky glass.
There we go. Yeah, so very fast external storage. Let me remove the files again. Because we have one more product to show. And this is maybe even my favorite of today.
Well, maybe because you want to show the dock.
Yeah.
Well, let's maybe go to the PPT to summarize all the...
Sure.
Let me see the PPT.
Yeah, to summarize all the performance.
Yeah, so to be honest, these are not the scores which we just benchmarked, because I just wrote them down on the paper. But before this live stream, Ruud, which sometimes features a live stream as well, did this for us. And yeah, I can check if the scores are identical.
You can see some minor differences because now we're running NDI, our way of capturing all the footage to the
indeed.
stream.
Some are lower and some are higher.
Yeah. It can give a little bit.
So
of
let's start at with the first one. That's of FireCuda 520. It's M.2 NVMe Gen 4 drive. This is the 500 gig. This is the Charlie drive C, which is where we copied all the content from. As you can see, there is not a lot of difference with the 1 terabyte version you see on the right for reading. However, writing is the big difference because from let's say 2500. It increased to 4200, 43 almost.
Yeah,
so
this is what Phil also mentioned, that like the sweet spot in terms of price and performance for these SSDs is currently at around the 1 terabyte mark, I would say.
Yeah.
The one you can win today, so make sure to participate while you still can.
Yeah. Then in the middle, top row in the middle, you see the FireCuda 510, which is M.2 NVMe Gen 3. Drive and also the 1 terabyte version, so it's easy to compare with the one on the right. That one is, we already saw, I have the same number here, 3089, and here we have 3100, so it's the same score. Yeah, it's slower. So Gen 4, clearly you get more performance.
Yeah,
but of
compared
course,
to Gen 4 it's slower, but it's still extremely fast. For
this is extremely fast if you compare it to the hard drive. But yeah, of course Gen 4 is also more expensive. So in the next slide we are going to talk about the cost per gigabyte, because one thing of course you want is performance. On the other hand, you also want the best price or what is affordable for you. So Bottom row, first one is the BarraCuda 120, which is internal SATA SSD 1 terabyte. And this one scored in my benchmark 460 here, 539. Well, my benchmark, sorry, the one you did, Michiel. So that's we have some big gap there. Not sure why. And then the bottom row, the one in the middle, is the hard drive, the Iron Wolf Pro. Very fast for a hard drive compared to what Michiel used to have at home. A long time ago, he said. Which had a score of 232. And you can see that the SSD is much faster. 539, the BarraCuda on the left, both on SATA interface. And then the FireCuda Gaming, a USB 20 gig SSD, which is the external SSD we just benchmarked. We just did 2035, and this benchmark shows 2000. And the write score is exactly identical. And that was a 500 gig version.
Yeah.
So yeah, quite interesting scores. And for each benchmark, or let's say each benchmark comes at its price.
Yeah. So that's...
Yeah, so here we tried to give you an indication based on...
MSRP, so the recommended retail price.
Yeah, based on the recommended retail price. It's not listed here, but the price per gigabyte. And we listed down in USD, Euro, and what is it? British Pound?
Yeah.
Great Britain Pound, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, clear. And this is just as an indication because, you know, there are offers for better pricing, it depends on stock availability. So don't pin anybody down on this. This is just to give you an idea how they compare at a given moment. So if you have a hard drive, the BarraCuda HDD, it's let's talk in USD pricing for this compare. It's 10 cents per gigabyte.
Storage got quite cheap.
Yeah. If you compare that, it's not on the right order, but if you compare that with a SATA SSD, which is the BarraCuda 120 in the fourth row at the bottom, it's 13 US dollar cents. Should I say US dollar cents? Yeah, it's Euro cents, so it's also US dollar cents. Price a little bit up, but as you can see, like we showed you, performance is more than double, and price is not more than double. If we then go to the second one, the FireCuda 510 SSD, which is Gen 3 SSD, you pay $22 per gigabyte. It's more expensive, but you also get like 7 times the performance. 6 to 7 times the performance. And this is not 6 to 7 times.
But it depends very much on what you do, because if it's about storing your family pictures, then you don't need the very high speed. So then the hard disk drive will be like a logical choice. If you're going to copy these 4K video files, then the speed matters. So then it's definitely worth it to invest in faster storage. Yeah. So it's all depending on what you want to do with it. And you can combine multiple ones. You can, for example, have the PCI Express SSD for all your programs and your games, and run a hard disk drive next to it for all your pictures and your documents and stuff like that.
Yeah. And the other thing to mention is if we're obviously doing a 1 terabyte comparison in this chart, but hard drive language, people really look at the terabyte, the cost per terabyte. So if you were to go up to, I don't know, 4 terabyte, you would see that drop, maybe to 6 cents potentially. It's I would say the pricing model is kind of an unfair comparison, but it's a fair comparison because they're all 1 terabyte. Yeah. So just factor that in, because a likely scenario is you probably have your, a 1 terabyte NVMe drive at the front, 500 or 250. And then you'll probably have a large hard drive behind it, because I would say 1 terabyte of storage is simply not enough for most people nowadays, if we take Warzone in consideration.
It also, for gamers, it depends very much on what kind of games you play. If you play like a lot of esports titles, like CSGO, like Rocket League, Valorant, they tend to be a little bit smaller. They're really performance-based and not really on the high-res textures and stuff. Whereas the AAA titles, they are usually graphically very demanding, but they also take up a lot of storage. They usually have these very large, impressive levels and stuff like that. So for example, the level that you see in Warzone, it's very big, it's very wide, you got the high-res textures, and that takes up a lot of space. So if you're really into those AAA titles, you will probably need a little bit more storage than if you play esports titles like CSGO, like Rocket League. That's usually quite a big difference as well.
And then we didn't talk about Gen4 SSD, 27. So yeah, it's at premium, but you get really fast performance. Currently the best offered on the market. And then we have the external, the FireCuda gaming SSD, which is USB 20 gig version. It's 25 US dollar cents per gigabyte. Yeah, the most expensive in the chart, but it's also it's a new technology, USB 20. And it's just introduced on the market, right?
Yeah, I mean it's relatively new. Yeah, I mean we're just using the base model of the FireCuda 510 inside, so obviously it is a well-performing drive just with that bottleneck, via the cable. So we are using quality drive inside. Yeah.
Yeah. So let us check some questions in the chat.
Hard drives to die? No. No, I mean, I agree and disagree, and the reason I agree is because if you're a consumer and you don't need crazy storage and you're just a gamer, you just want to load in quick, load up your games, and away you go, use the same applications day in, day out. Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't argue with that. But what I would say is if you are storing data for a long period of time and touching minimally, I would always keep my backup on a hard drive, whether it be a NAS or whether it just be a standard drive. I'd always keep it on a hard drive just in case something was to go wrong and you wanted to recover those precious memories that you have. But also, if we talk about the future of technology and how AI and all that's going to come about and autonomous driving, SSD can't comprehend how much data is going to be needed. So hard drives will never die, and that's why we built drives for up to 90 terabytes for the future to come, because there's no, the worldwide storage is still 65% on hard drive, and that isn't going to change.
Yeah, and not only size is getting bigger, but at this moment cost per gigabyte is also low. This will also go decrease in the future, right?
Yeah, here's a good example. Actually, there was this this long article of all the tech giants putting in information. It's a report called Data Age 2025. But the main headline in there isn't a Seagate report. This is just a report about storage, and it showed that from the dawn of time when we've been storing data to 2018. We had stored 33 zettabytes worth of data as a human race.
Wow.
And by 2025, and that's a lot of zeros, so people on the channel that may not know, terabyte, petabyte, exabyte, zettabyte, it just means a lot of zeros, and it's just, you can't fathom how much data that is. So that's 33 zettabytes in 2018. The growth rate, we're going to be exceeding 175 zettabytes by 2025. And that is the speed and growth of data requirement that the human race needs. So it's crazy to think about that. And someone did a real good statistic. They said, right, okay, you've got a Blu-ray disc, fill up that Blu-ray disc, put it on the average level of the world, stack it all the way to the moon 9 times. That's how much data 175 zettabytes is.
Yeah, that's a lot. And it will only...
It's just mental. Who's actually worked that out, by the way?
it will only increase more and more, right? At a faster rate.
Yeah, sure.
Because of all the AI technologies, which is based on data sets. Michiel?
I'm just quickly switching the system here.
Yeah, nobody noticed.
Nobody noticed. So our testing rig is gone now. Our Creator TRX 40 based testing rig. And I replaced it for our very new MEG Aegis Ti 5 gaming desktop. And
yeah, last week Jan and I had a live stream.
Yeah, so if you want to learn more about this specific system, make sure to check out last week's live stream. You can find it on YouTube and view it back. But now we're going to talk about the FireCuda gaming dock. And this is a Thunderbolt device, and this system supports Thunderbolt.
So that's why we took this system, because the TRX40 had USB 20 gig and all the PCI Express and SATA devices, or the connectors, let's say like that. But this system has Thunderbolt.
Yep.
And you love this product, right? Because you're a Mini ITX fan, and you said, can I keep this? I said, no, we need to send it back.
For me, because Phil, you mentioned like this is very nice for notebooks, but I use a Mini ITX gaming system, so a very small PC, and I like to drag it around to LAN parties. And what I really like about this thing is that if you have, for example, the MEG Z490i Unify motherboard that has this Thunderbolt interface, you only need to plug in one cable when you're back at home and you got everything attached again. So also for small gaming rigs, I think this is really neat device. So let me quickly unpack it and show you what's inside.
Ooh. Yeah.
So the dock itself. And there we go. This is the front. So we can already see the power button, 2 USB ports, and your headset connectors right there. And then at the rear, the power connector. There is the it's a USB Type-C, but it supports the Thunderbolt. So this is where you connect it to your computer, so either a desktop PC or a notebook with Thunderbolt. Then you have another Type-C connector. I believe this is to power a device, right, Phil?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
So, for example, if you want to charge your notebook or anything like that, or your phone or whatever, you have an additional USB Type-C port here. Then we have DisplayPort 1.4. So here you can connect your monitor. Also supports 4K resolutions, of course. We have 3 more USB ports, and then we have a LAN connector as well. So basically, if you at home, you can basically connect all your stuff, like your mouse, your keyboard, any other USB devices you might have. You can connect your LAN port, you can connect your monitor, etc. And you only need to plug in that Type-C Thunderbolt cable, and everything's connected at once.
Yeah, but this is a storage device, right? Because there is a 4 terabyte, at least in this version.
You're already spoiling it.
Oh,
but
sorry.
yes, indeed, there is a 4 terabyte hard drive inside the box. So this is also basically an external hard drive.
In the box, in the streaming dock.
Yeah, in the stream.
Yeah, because you're confusing everybody. You have a box in your hand.
Yeah, that's true. There's also kind of a box, right?
Yeah.
So let me unpack this as well, because here we have the USB cable. So it's just Type-C to Type-C. So it is.
Moment. Yeah.
It is Thunderbolt, but it goes over Type-C nowadays.
Yeah. It's not that each Type-C cable can be used for Thunderbolt.
No.
Or a detailed cam in the back.
It needs
really
to support
weird.
Thunderbolt 3.
Yeah. So, and most of the times they're high quality cables.
Yes. Also, for example, some Type-C cables are only charging cables, like for mobile phones and stuff. Some cannot even do data at all.
Yeah.
But in this situation, you need a Thunderbolt 3 supported cable. Then we have our power brick.
Is the eSSD 5 already running?
Yes.
Okay, then I'm going to. Can you check if this is live?
I'm wiggling my mouse. Is it working? Can you even see my
mouse?
Yeah.
I saw you clicking on. Can you open something?
Oh wait, I think my mouse is not showing. Let me.
Yeah, it's working. Perfect.
Ah, there's my mouse.
Yeah.
Good.
Sorry, NDI, we always need to check if we switch computers. In the past, we were really watching out with this, because at one live stream we switched systems and it crashed. So the complete live stream was gone. And now we created one VLAN for our virtual LAN for our streaming setup. And now we hope it doesn't crash anymore. So far, so good.
Yeah. So let's connect it. Let me see if I can move
this. Can you maybe select the next slide?
Yep.
Yeah,
There we go.
Oh, maybe go one back, because I already saw some people talking about what is this beast. This is our Aegis TI5, and it comes with Thunderbolt. Last week, Ja and me, we talked about it, well, especially, mainly Ja. So this is a complete gaming desktop. Comes with a new RTX 3080. Comes with the fastest Intel CPU, a lot of memory, a lot of storage.
And this one, there's a 10900 KF, but it depends on the exact model. You can get it in different
there are more configurations. So it comes with RGB, and the button, the knob on the front, it's really interesting.
It's a nice OLED screen. Let me see if I can show it.
You're going to.
It's a little bit hard from where I am, but right now,
can you maybe turn with your other hand? I mean, let's hijack this live stream. Talk about Aegis.
Let me see if I can properly show you. There we go. So it's a nice.
Can you maybe dial and then?
Oh.
Sorry. Yeah.
So this is, for example, volume control, Mystic Light. So you can go through all different modes.
Yeah. Okay. More. Check out last week.
Yep. That was enough Aegis TI5 for today, at least. Let's get back to our gaming dock, and let's make a little bit of space and get the camera back. Okay.
We should have some robotic arm for the detailed cam, right?
Yeah. Can you properly see it like this?
One moment, yes.
There we go. So this is the rear of the gaming dock. We have the front side. So here you have the power connector.
So it comes with a power brick, right?
Yeah, it comes with power brick. It's currently underneath the table. Here, of course, you can connect mouse, keyboard, etc. So let's just plug in my mouse and keyboard as well.
I thought we disabled focus, Michiel.
Just as an example. No, for this one, for the close-up, we enabled it. Otherwise, I cannot show stuff with focus. And then we're going to connect the Thunderbolt. Of course, you can connect more. You can connect LAN. You can connect a monitor through DisplayPort, etc. So
MD Computing, check out last week's live stream. There we opened it up. We talked about the insights, about the eyesights, about all the specs, and I don't think there will be any question left after that live stream. I see RGB.
Yeah, so you have a nice RGB light right here.
Yeah.
It's currently blinking in orange. Now it's switched on. So let's go to the computer.
Thinking this one.
Yes. So here already recognize it. FireCuda gaming dock. Open folder to view files. So here you can already see the hard drive that is in the FireCuda gaming dock. So we can also do some crystal disk mark on it.
So Phil, this is the 4 terabyte version. What?
It's a 4 terabyte Iron Wolf with a 7200 spin, 256 meg cache. So it's not like just a standard desktop drive with high quality drive inside. But of course the special bit is when you pop off the end and you can put your M.2 in.
Yeah, we're also.
So you can expand.
We're also going to do that. And this is 4 terabyte version. Do you also have like 1, 2, 8, 16?
No, we decided we thought what is a typical storage setup in either a laptop or a PC, and most people, as an average, would have anywhere between 1 terabyte and 2 terabyte as the average. So we thought if someone's going to go and buy a docking station, they would buy it with storage, which is going to sort of skill up their storage ownership. So we thought 4 terabyte was the perfect amount, as well as the additional M.2 storage, which can sort of sweeten that up a little bit.
I see a question in chat. Is there a fan inside?
Yes.
Is there?
Yes.
They probably want to know if it has fan profiles, if you can.
Can you
what the size of the fan is? Or typical questions.
Yeah, so I quickly booted up Crystal Disk Mark and I ran a test. And here you can see indeed that it has the Iron Wolf Pro inside because it's a fast hard drive.
This is faster than what we did with the SATA drive.
Yeah.
That one was 230, and this is 246.
Interesting.
The gift that keeps giving.
Yeah, it's both read and write and read. It's faster, which could be the Thunderbolt interface.
Shouldn't matter because internally it's still SATA. You will have to go through that SATA interface because that's the interface of the hard drive. So in theory they should perform the same, but indeed it performs really well.
Yeah.
Even slightly better than expected. So let's also run our fast copy test. So here we have it.
I suggest we copy 4 terabyte to it. Just, get it done.
You want to copy 4 terabyte?
Oh, well.
I cannot even do that because the SSD in here is not 4 terabytes.
Well, so don't complain. You have many SSDs.
Not in this system. Not as many as in my testing.
This is the other system.
This is another system. Right. So we'll just stick to our regular 45 gigabyte test. It's a hard drive. So if you're going 4 terabyte, then it will take a while. If we're going with files that size, then use an NVMe SSD, I would say.
We have a question from Legacy Legacy ZA. Can you switch the RGB off, Phil?
Yes.
So RGB also means you can change it to all colors and you can switch it off.
Yeah, and you can save energy to the world.
But then you're losing FPS.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you got the 4 terabyte iMorph Pro handy, just so you can put the scale next to the box?
Let me just grab it.
Oh,
because I just saw a question. It's too big for a hard drive, but if you compare, if you look at any docking station in the market, they are quite big because of the device ports that go inside. And obviously, from a motherboard, you stack them upwards, so you're not taking over too much space on the motherboard. So it's actually in good proportion. The end bit is obviously where the ventilation is and where the M.2 slot goes. So that's why the size is wider.
Yeah, and later on I will also demonstrate how to install an M.2 SSD in here. So currently we're running our copy test. So this, how long should this take according to the test that we did with internal hard drive?
1 moment, I need to. This is 3 minutes 26.
Yeah, 26.
I need to copy this one as well and zoom enlarge.
So maybe while this is running, we can do our last $20 Steam wallet code winner. And that will be our second last winner for today, because the last one will be the winner of. Sorry? The last one will win a 1 terabyte FireCuda 520 Gen 4 SSD. So our last $20 Steam wallet code winner for today is, let me see, Mido Play. Congratulations, you also won a $20 Steam wallet code. Keep an eye out on your mailbox because we'll email it to you in the coming days. And our next winner, which will be at the end of the stream, will win the 1 terabyte Gen 4 hard drive. So we're currently at 2:12. So we'll take another minute. So in the meanwhile, I will just tell you where you can sign up to win this SSD. Go to msi.com/2/insider on Twitch and YouTube. Our bot will also put a direct link to the giveaway in the chat every now and then. You can perform several actions. The more actions you perform, the bigger chance you will have to win.
So next one will win this.
Yes.
Nice.
Before we close off the stream, we will have one more drawing, and that person will win the Gen 4 SSD. So currently at 2:44. So in a little bit over half a minute, should be done. 230 MIB per second, so quite fast as well. And let me, in the meanwhile, also unscrew an SSD from my testing system, so I can later on demonstrate you how to put that inside the gaming dock. Let me see.
Everybody in chat is waiting. Me.
There we go. Oh, it's finished. 114. So it's even slightly faster than the internal SATA SSD.
Yeah. But we already saw that based on the crystal disk mark. Well, that's, you know, a synthetic benchmark.
Yeah. So that was almost 45 gigabytes of video footage. Now let's power it down, because of course there is already a 4 terabyte hard drive inside the gaming dock. But you can also put an M.2 SSD in there. Eric, can you maybe get me the close-up view?
Oh, close-up?
Yeah. So here on the side...
You switch it off?
Yeah, I switched it off. I unpowered it.
Okay.
On the side, you can easily pull this off. And then you see...
So no screws?
No screws. We've got this nice attachment mechanism.
Oh, okay.
No cables either.
And there you have the ventilation holes.
Yeah, here you have... And you can... see a small fan behind, and behind that is a hard drive, obviously. But here we have an M.2 SSD slot. This is a Gen 3 slot. Of course, a Gen 4 slot wouldn't make sense because Thunderbolt cannot reach the speeds of PCI Express Gen 4. So this is Gen 3.
Michiel, we need to hurry because I think security will soon come and kick us out.
Yeah, I see. You can, of course, use a Gen 4 SSD, but it will automatically go back to Gen 3 speeds. So it's probably better just to save the money and use a Gen 3 SSD because they're fast enough. Got a nice little heatsink here with a thermal pad, and here you can see the M.2 slot.
So to be clear, 3.5-inch SATA doesn't fit.
Well, 3.5-inch SATA is already in there.
Oh yeah, but not in this expansion slot.
It is included, so you don't have to put it in yourself anymore.
A good question.
Oh, so something to add as well. You can't open up the box to put in another hard drive.
I saw a question from Eric indeed.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a 4 terabyte. You can't mess around with it, or you will void the warranty.
There we go.
Uh-oh.
The heatsink back on top. There we go.
The PCIe 4 will work on a Gen 3 interface. It will just downclock itself.
It's just backwards compatible indeed.
Yeah, so it will work, but of course, because of Thunderbolt, you cannot reach the speeds that Gen 4 can offer internally in the computer.
Well, there is also no Gen 4 interface, so yeah, you're just paying more for your SSD. Yeah. Well, you will not benefit from the...
That's also why we're currently using a FireCuda 510 SSD. So that's the Gen 3 SSD. It's the 1 terabyte model that I just put in there. And then you simply click it back in.
No smoke?
I didn't power it yet, so let's see.
Oh yeah, so your EGTI is still running, so we can have a look here.
Yeah, my EGTI is still running indeed.
Yeah, can you check if the capture still works? Should be, right?
Yeah, it should be. Let me quickly plug everything back in. There we go.
Yeah. Setting up a new device.
Yeah. So right now, you see the FireCuda gaming dock, and here you see the FireCuda 510 1 terabyte Gen 3 SSD. So this is the one that we previously used in our testing rig. I took this from the Creator TRX40 motherboard, and I put it inside of the FireCuda gaming dock.
Nice.
So yeah, and they have 1 terabyte of SSD storage connected through Thunderbolt, and 4 terabyte of HDD storage.
Now, I also have that with my laptop. I have a Thunderbolt interface, so it's very easy. You know, just sit on your desk, plug in the docking station for a Thunderbolt, and everything is connected: keyboard, mouse, monitors.
Reaper of Death is asking, does PCI 4.0 work on 3.0? Yes, it works.
Yeah, we already talked about that.
Yeah, it works at 3.0 speeds. I see someone asking, did you unplug and power off before? Yes, I did unplug the power cable as well. Maybe you didn't see it, but I did. So it was powered off when I screwed
the gaming dock. The PC was still running, but
the PC was running, but the gaming dock was unplugged, so it didn't have any power.
Yeah, I see someone else asked the question, is the extension on the side just for the RGB? Yes, but also ventilation. It partially covers the M.2, doesn't it? So it allows any hot, the heat that comes up through the heat spreader to be pushed out those ventilation holes with all the RGB goodness to come along with it.
Yeah, looks...
Maybe rainbows come out.
Yeah, it looks really nice. What I'm going to do, Michiel, I'm going to pick one lucky winner.
Yeah, the time is there.
We need to hurry because it's...
yeah, we need to close off the stream. So let's pick our final winner for today. And this person will win. Let me grab the box. Let me see if I have the right one. This one. So it's a Seagate FireCuda 520 1TB Gen4 SSD. So we have one very lucky viewer
Not
today.
this one, because probably Michiel already broke it.
Yes, you will get a brand new one, don't worry.
And 3 years data recovery on top.
So also, thanks Phil, and thanks Seagate for providing this very nice prize.
Yeah.
And let's make someone very happy.
Michiel, it's on the screen.
Congratulations, Jacob Kubalka. You won the 1TB FireCuda 520 Gen4 SSD. So Jacob Kubalka, congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations.
Jacob, we will send you an email in the coming days as well to provide us with your shipping information so we can make sure that the SSD will be delivered to you.
Yeah, okay, back to the chat. So Phil, we want to thank you. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, thank you so much for all the explanation, the expertise on storage.
Oh, I try my best, and thank you for our dragons to go live on your channel.
They're a match made in heaven, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
So thanks for joining. We're going to close down. So bye-bye, Phil. I'm now going to switch to another scene.
Yeah.
And I think you're not in there anymore.
Thank you.
Okay, well,
bye-bye.
Thanks.
See you later, guys. Bye-bye.
So next week we're going to talk about MAG 274, which is a new series of gaming monitors. One of them is a quantum dot, has a quantum dot panel in there, screen in there. And this live stream will be done by Ja. So we already saw him today in one of the videos. As I can do this up as demo material. So please join us. Michiel, can you maybe go to the last slide?
Yeah, it's already open.
For the coming live streams.
Yep.
Phil is probably... Is it already on?
Yes, it is.
Oh yeah,
it doesn't show sometimes, but
yeah, just put it on. So next week we're going to talk about MAG 274. Week after we don't have a topic yet because we like what we announced already. We were going to do a live stream for the RTX 3070, but NVIDIA postponed this launch, so we're going to do this the week after, and that will be on a Thursday. So Thursday, what is it, Michiel? Can you click?
Let me see.
Yeah, the 29th. Thursday, October the 29th, we're going to talk about RTX 3070. And that's also around that date that Watch Dogs Legions will launch. And with Watch Dogs, we have a cooperation with Ubisoft.
Something very cool to show there as well.
Yeah, but that's for later.
We keep it a secret, so make sure to check it out on Thursday, the 29th.
So thank you all.
Thanks for watching, everyone. Hope to see you again next week. Same place, same time. And then Ja will be here to talk about the latest and greatest gaming monitors. So thank you for watching and hope to see you next week.
Take care.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.